Yeah, these shit were good.
All right, people. This is your boy Ligo One Half and Duo, and we are live with Retro Talk. This is a special end cast, and I have with me a full cast of people to talk about gaming from the past, goods, the bads, and how it influenced the game of the industry in 2016 as it is, and looking forward.
Hey, I'm
So
back.
with that, we have a couple people here that's gonna keep with that. So from my left to my right, I'm gonna introduce these guys. So like I say, all these guys have good channels, and you listen to them. Andre, the Gate Idea guy, how you doing? Now he has the thing. Brownie, what about you?
I'm doing good. I'm
Okay,
just playing a retrograde myself, so yeah.
all right. Anderson Archilla, Double A, what's going on, son?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm just about to play some Plants vs. Zombies since I'm on my phone. So, yeah.
All right. Konoshi Bamanito, how you doing, sir?
Doing all right.
All right. Yeah, we have Mr. Red Fox, and we have the prestigious Kwame Chu, but his mic is the loudest out of all of us. What up, Quan?
He had to mute himself.
Got you, Sprite Remix,
Yeah, what's going on? Let's get this started.
and of course, a brother from another place. The only link I ever see with a machete, Triple M.
Good evening, gents. I just had to walk myself away from the corner. No one would hear me screeching while I'm slashing some sword. So
All right, so with this right here, like I said, we're talking about gaming past and kind of like a little bit how it influenced our future. So basically, I give start off a comment. Basically, this came from WatchMojo's the 10 things they hate about retro gaming. I think a couple of us here could say, you know what? Because we lived through it, it wasn't that bad, or it was bad, or we could add a little stuff including like Mr. Red Fox, Andre, me, Quan, Triple M, since we're the oldest out of the cast. So with that said, I'm going to, and I apologize again for being late. Just had to take care of business. Like I said, I'm a busy person. But with that said, let's talk about topic number 10. Topic now we're going from 10 up, just like Watch Mojo. So basically, we have topic number 10 is the commercials, the corny commercials, as they said, the over-the-top corny commercials.
they
Uh,
don't suck. Well, some of them do, but there's some hidden gems in those commercials as well.
all right, since you piped up Triple M, go ahead, keep on going. What do you think?
Yeah, I also would say when some of them that person from Watch Mojo said that it's not very informative, and I'm like, really? Because what I remember, well, for the Nintendo commercial at least you can see how the game actually looks. What you can do in them for the allotted time uh, that they've been shown as an advertisement.
I mean, they're a lot better. Well, those commercials are better than what you see now on TV. Rated M for mature. Get this game now, Xbox One.
And
Yeah,
at
they
least,
didn't have so much. They didn't have so much CGIs at the time. So yeah.
and at least from what I remember, they were more common than now.
Mm,
So, and I love the corniness. I mean, the Smash Brothers commercial, that was awesome. For
classic,
Sun.
classic.
Oh wait, right.
As long as like the Yoshi's on SNES commercial, I'm all with him. So.
What, you didn't like that dude exploding? I only have one thing to say about that number 10. I vehemently disagree with it, and I can point out why. Name one commercial since the beginning of modern gaming that you actually remember. And when I say modern gaming, I mean the 6th gen. That's the start of modern gaming, in my opinion. That's when disc media became really heavy into it. I mean, you can't really.
Don't forget, you have a certain type of people on this cast, so I could list them just as much as I think a couple of people here can list them too. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, most of them. I mean, to me, the type of game I am aren't really that memorable to me. But I remember a lot of stuff. I can remember really memorable. Well, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts fan, so I will never consider that game memorable.
You gotta let that go.
But I mean, I can remember the second gen commercials where they had Intellivision going hard after Atari, where they had Billy Plimpton up there. The games on the television actually look like basketball. Football looks like football, and just like casting shade on the Atari. I can remember the third gen games commercials, like the commercials for Mario and Duck Hunt. Don't get me started with that dance rap they had for Link to the Past. And don't get me started where they had that Donkey Kong commercial where they had that gorilla beat the hell out of that TV.
Huh? Repeat again.
Zelda.
Zelda. Who's streaming Zelda?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
yeah, his feedback ain't that good.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, check out those graphics.
I don't really think of anything of this. Nothing in the 6th, 7th, or 8th gen has really most of the games I really bought during those gens. I didn't see a commercial on TV that really stuck out to me. It was like I saw the game at a GameStop or an EB or a KB, and I was like, I think I'll get that game.
What? No, we will like to play.
That's one of them. I remember.
But the only reason I'm gonna give that kind of a pass is because that's basically, I mean, even though that was in the 7th gen, that was done by Nintendo, and they've been around for a long ass time, and that was kind of like a throwback commercial.
Throwback commercial. I mean, they've been doing commercials like that for a while, but I mean, I could think of, like I said,
What about that? Clean is better than dirty, and dirty is meaner than clean for Super Mario Sunshine.
Again,
nope.
Mario Sunshine.
Don't remember that one.
I do remember. Well, hey, you don't remember. I still remember when I first saw the commercial for Okami back on PlayStation 2.
Now, see, I didn't see any commercials for Okami.
Me neither.
I did.
The only reason I got that game was because I was like, this game looks like it'll be fun. And I played demo, because remember when they had the demo discs? They would give you a demo disc for the PS2, and it would have like 5 or 6 games on the demo disc, and it had like a section of that game, and I was like, yeah, this looks like fun, I'll get it.
I know. Ren, what about those GTA commercials coming? Because Vice City had that 80s song, and then San Andreas had Guns N' Roses playing.
I never bought a San Andreas because of a commercial.
I have to say, I would have to say the first Modern Warfare commercials was pretty good too. I mean, I remember. Those are in my memory. Seeing the what?
Double dribble.
Double dribble. I don't even remember double dribbles.
Oh, I remember double dribble. Oh, I remember double dribble. That's classic. That's classic right there. But I mean, okay, I see where Red is coming from. But what anybody else got other take before? Andre, can you hear us? Are you still muted? Still muted? Gotta take it to family.
I could still remember. Oh, go ahead, Quan.
Nah, Quan, you're not coming in good at all.
Did he say goals and goals?
Yeah, ghouls and ghosts. Yeah.
I don't even remember that commercial.
I remember that commercial. No, I didn't remember that commercial.
I remember the commercial for Castlevania because it looks so weird.
Man, I still remember the commercial for Super Mario Land, and then came out with the one with Wario go like, "Obey me."
Yeah, that was for 6 golden coins.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you will buy what Wario tells you to buy. That was some Nintendo. People forget that everyone looks at Nintendo and they're like, oh, they're kid friendly. There was a time when commercials for Nintendo were just fucked up. Like
Yoshi's all on SNES.
Like someone was insane.
Well, hell, remember the one where they had for Samus when it's 16-bit graphics, and it's gonna be a hardcore game, and he had a little Doberman picture, and he went inside, and he's like, "Go get him, boy!"
And the Zelda rap.
And he came back out as the Chihuahua. Oh,
yeah, I liked the Zelda rap. I got to keep it real. It was corny.
Speaking of Metroid, I think I vaguely recall the CGI commercial for Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Fusion. I remember the one for Fusion. I remember one for.
I remember the eternal line from Wario: "Greed is good. Greed is very good."
Yeah.
For Wario Land 4.
I'll tell you, my favorite commercial of the 5th gen. I'm putting it down. I know some people say, well, maybe Sega Sanshiro, but I'm going with.
No, I know one. I know my favorite for that.
No, I'm going with Smash Brothers.
Exactly.
You and me and you, no matter how we toss the dice.
Look, there's nothing like seeing your favorite Nintendo characters beat the daylights out of each other for no apparent reason.
And the first time I saw that, I was like, what the bloody hell is going on here? It was so out in left field, it caught me by surprise.
I think the first time I saw that was screaming, "Yes! I can beat them up!"
But yeah, because of course everybody, like I said, it was the 5th gen. That commercial was just epic because it started out. The song is one, and two, just to see him skip through the thing. Nobody saw this coming.
No one thought they were going to start to beat the shit out of each other.
Nobody saw Smash coming at all. Nobody. And to see it to be as a big franchise it is today, wow! But that commercial was crazy. That commercial was crazy.
I think all the Mario Party ones were good for the 5th generation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will give credit WATCHMOJO one thing. The one that they actually showed that someone that's playing right now, that yes, kind of sucked.
Oh, I saw that. Oh God, not that commercial. I saw the Atari Jaguar thing. Maybe that's what some of these consoles by Sony and Microsoft need to start using because they both like gigs of RAM do the math.
Yep. But don't forget.
We're going full circle.
Yeah, but don't forget though, and Anderson's right. But don't forget that we also had, like I said, the other bit wars. Like you said, because remember Sega had this thing with like, Sonic can't do this, then Mario can't do what Sonic could do. Blast processing.
Genesis does Nintendo.
Genesis does Super Mario. We got Joe and I'm get a commercial with Joe Montana. Genesis does. Genesis does. Hey,
that's a catchy song. I ain't gonna lie.
It was.
Yeah,
and it said, when Nintendo. Exactly.
Yeah.
Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and that's go out of business.
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
Now you
Hey,
guys know why I don't fight that war anymore. It's just we've already been. That was the last console war that actually mattered, though.
Yeah, it is, but it is funny. I mean, I know Kanoshi had to throw that jam in there, but I mean, they had, like I said, everybody had their commercials in there that was pretty cool. I still remember when I saw the commercial when I went to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the arcade in the movies. I was like, what the? There's a movie gonna be for this? Well, it was Turtles Manhattan Project, but I didn't know at the time. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Any of you remember the Sonic the Hedgehog commercial that the woman said, "Why can't you be like this nice man like Mario or something?"
Yep. And don't forget the Mario Kart, because I had Mario Kart and the Mario Kart was in the milk truck. He's like,
Yeah.
you can't do it. And of course, we can't forget one.
Wait. If you mention Mario Kart, you can't forget that commercial about Mario Kart where there's the Grand Prix announcer going, go fast, way too fast.
Well, yeah, and you can't forget the one outside. You can't forget the commercial, which was a movie dressed up as a commercial, which was The Wizard.
Yeah, that whole thing was just one big commercial for
That was one big commercial
Super Mario 3. That's all it
Mario Brothers
was.
3.
And the Power Glove.
Yeah, Lucas.
Speaking of which, everybody who's listening, please go watch the full version of the Angry Video Game Nerds review of The Wizard and Super Mario Bros. 3.
Now,
If you haven't already.
I will say this much. About the movie The Wizard. They told the truth about one product in that film, and it was the Power Glove. Because Lucas told us the Power Glove. It's so bad. You're right. It is so bad. It's terrible.
Yeah, because everybody played it like if you were to play that game, you really had to play it like you had to turn it sideways and play it like a regular controller, no matter what.
Yep.
But you know what? I can't argue with that, Carl. That was something see, people don't need to understand. They learned from what they did then to get what we got now to this day. So they learned stuff with technology. So we'll get to that point right there. So, is Andre back yet?
I'm back. Didn't mean to disappear.
Okay, we talking about the commercials. Back in the day, they said they basically called it the corny commercials. What about you? Talk about it.
They worked.
They did work, yeah. And go. If you got anything else you want to jump in to say before we switch the topic, go ahead.
No, you have to say it. You have to say it correctly. Exactly what they said. They said that the commercial sucked. That means regardless if it's corny or not.
Yep.
Well, look, to be fair, back then that stuff was like top notch back then because you hadn't seen anything like it. It was off the wall. It was weird, and it drew your attention. Yeah, now it sucks, but back then that's what you had. You dealt with it. You laughed at it. You still had fun playing your video games, didn't you?
Well, it's like
come on.
It's like comparing a smartphone to a rodeo.
Well. Here's the thing. I'm going to argue this. How come that back then it sucked, and yet I'm still hearing people saying that they should go do advertising like how they did back in the 80s and 90s.
Well, not just that. I mean, we just spent 15 minutes talking about those commercials
because we remember them.
It's called nostalgia.
Yeah.
All it is.
Well, it is nostalgia, but they did their job. They
were memorable.
Memorable. They did their job. That's the whole point.
Here's what really needs to happen, and I hate to say it this way because the commercial was dumb to me, but I think everybody should go the Splatoon route. Go corny as all hell.
Nah, it worked for that game. It worked for certain games. I don't think that would work for all games.
No. I think if you had a Splatoon-esque theme for a game like Just Cause, it would draw everybody to it because they'd be so baffled at how bad the music is. They would want to see what the game is like.
That's it.
Imagine if. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bronny.
Imagine if they make a new commercial for the new Smash Brothers game, like the first commercial, the Smash Brothers, but with Sonic being in there, Pac-Man being in there, Mega Man, and then they're just relaxing, and all of a sudden they start
I'm
fighting.
surprised nobody has done that yet with all the stuff
in a
people do now.
cafeteria or something.
Yeah. Well, before we go to the next one, I'll give my take on it. Like I said, my full take. Like the reason I like the commercials back then compared to now, because one of the things were back then we were not fragmented as we are now because of technology. That's just given, but it happens. We progressed to beyond that. Because I still remember Zelda's Majora's Mask when he showed up on WWE.
Oh my gosh, that's so old. I do remember that.
How can I forget that?
WWF because it was WWF, and then inside the commercial you had the Hardy Brothers like, can he make it? So it was like a commercial for each other, which was pretty cool at the time. 'Cause I was interested back then. I was like, wow.
That was those intermittent promos that they used to do. They don't do that anymore.
No, they do. Hold on a second. Over there at WWE Raw, they have Pokemon Go promos going on all night.
Okay, Quan said he got Pokemon Go promos going on all night. You're not coming in good, Quan.
See,
Up to my
what
ears.
they need to do is have the wrestlers actually playing Pokemon Go backstage to promote it. That would be better.
Well, like I said, back then we used to have intermittent like we had, and for me it was like I said, from as far as I can remember, kind of commercial. WatchMojo said they didn't have that much gameplay. Most of the games I can remember showed gameplay.
Yeah.
The commercials back then showed gameplay, and if it didn't, it usually ended up being a bad game.
Yeah. So that was just that was something. It was. What happened now is we gain more CGIs that don't happen in the game no more. That's what's going on now.
I don't know.
Commercial that shows me a scene about a game, I expect that scene to be in the game somewhere.
Well, here's the thing. Even if a game does have gameplay, a commercial does have gameplay, it's still gonna be a shit. It might be shit at the end. Superman 64.
Yeah, but there were no commercials for that game. At least gameplay.
Oh, I'll say those commercials for that. It did show gameplay. It did show
gameplay.
Really?
Yeah, I remember that.
And people still bought it? Seriously?
Well, they didn't. Nobody. They didn't. Show you that part.
Here's the thing. Titus made money off of it.
They never showed you the rings. They never showed you the rings.
Okay.
Yeah, they show Superman punching or something.
Yeah, they showed Superman fighting. They never really showed all that unnecessary bull crap.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that there was a part they showed in that commercial, the flying segments, but there was no rings.
Yep.
That's because they show beta footage.
Yes, that would be.
Wasn't the game beta or an alpha?
Did I get to that again, Kanoshi?
Wasn't the game like an alpha when they released it?
I can't. Maybe so. I can't say because that one I really didn't have price, so I can't. I wasn't paying attention to the
Actually,
game.
the reason that game did was not what they wanted it to be was because when the game came out, Superman the animated series was really hot, and they couldn't use any of Superman's main line villains, and they couldn't have Superman be ultra violent. So you could say that that game was basically the anti-Zack Snyder interpretation of Superman. So basically, because of this, they couldn't have Superman do any super things. Hence why you had him just flying around, going through rings, picking up cars, moving it from point A to point B, going through labyrinths. I mean, Titus, if you look at the documents of what Titus really wanted to do with that game, it could have been it could have been on par with a Spider-Man for the N64, which actually the Spider-Man for the N64 was actually pretty good. But instead,
they did have a villain. They had Lex Luthor, just talking, but he was in technically.
It's still what Titus really wanted to do. It could have been a really good comic book game, but. You know, they got their hands tied by Warner Brothers. Bastards.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, from my perspective, before we go to the next topic, like I said, it's, I'm seeing, for me, who go through the stuff, like, the people in the game industry now, they do rendering for a lot of stuff. One of the reasons, again, I like certain games or a certain company, as you know what my channel is, but because they show gameplay. Not CGI, not re-rendering, because everybody remember Resistance when PlayStation 2 came out. Everybody's, oh, this is going to be... Wait, you don't look like that. Watch Dogs going to be... You don't look like that. You don't look like that. This is getting weird. So, that's what back then, it might have been corny, but it was showing the true gameplay more than that. And again, we were more together back then as a society because... Everybody used to watch Seinfeld. Most people used to watch Seinfeld. Used to watch Cosby Show. Everybody saw when we were going to the playground or Sanford and Son. I'm just saying that we saw each other. We're like, oh man, you saw that again.
That's Sanford and Son, Triple L.
Yeah, that's what he said. No, that's Sanford and Son. That's right.
Oh.
I'm
Oh.
saying just like that, like we could go to the playground or go to school and say, "Yo, y'all did saw that what do you call it? Did saw the Smash Brothers one? That was pretty cool. How the hell did I pull that off? Because you didn't know at the time, so you had a conversation with everybody at school, or Street Fighter, or like I said, the one with like I said, me and my friends used to be into WWF so much. It was WWF at the time before World Wildlife Federation took the name, but back then I was into it because that's when Stone Cold and The Rock and everybody had just came out and being popular. And
Yep.
yeah, it was just like when we saw that commercial for Zelda's for Majora's Mask, it was like all my friends were talking about it 'cause it was basically again a promotion inside of the promotion for both things. It was pretty cool.
Must have been.
So I like it then. Now we got more stuff going on. The thing is that I've said before, people didn't understand. The market is split now because we have Twitch, we have YouTube. People are not broadcasting that much on regular TV right now, and advertisement has gone very expensive because of the segregation of the market. So that's one. So let's go on to the next topic, number 9. Next topic, number 9, is console. The first set of 3D graphics, crappy 3D graphics.
People get wide-eyed when it comes to new technology, and we see what happened with these early 3D games. They age horribly. It's hard to go back.
They can say whatever they want to. Star Fox for the SNES is still playable. That game still rocks.
That's one of the very few examples.
I was gonna say, why the hell did you say that example of Star Fox?
Yeah, Virtua Fighter 1 was very, very like choppy. Virtua Fighter 2 is much better.
If people should be seeing the screen, that's Star Fox right there. There are some games that could pull that. Some games that could pull the 3D, and as Red Fox says, Star Fox is one of them. There's Virtua Fighter right there.
Virtua Fighter 1, yeah, 2 is much better.
It was blocky, but again, I'll let Andre, you there, right? Trying to figure out who's here.
Again,
Everybody's here said Andre and Quan. They still muted.
Okay, Kanoshi, what about you? Early 3D graphics. What's your take on it?
again, we're comparing a smartphone to a rotary dial, so it's hard to compare them when those were two different times. Like to me, Super Mario RPG Legend of Seven Stars still looks great. It's a great looking game.
Yeah, early 3D polynomials, yes, there were. There were some people pull it off. Like, I mean, even though now it kind of ages a little worse or whatever, but again, Mario 64 still. Mario 64, the one you just said about Mario 7 Stars stuff, like certain games still can hold.
Killer Instinct.
Yeah, the original.
And Donkey Kong Country, yeah.
Of course.
Good, man. That they showed that gorilla beating the hell out of that TV. That was awesome.
I will say it could be in part because of the art style, which helped those games.
It was the graphics. It was the graphics. I mean, the art style is a part of the graphics, but in this case, it was the graphics. Because you have to remember when Donkey Kong Country and Star Fox came out, the PlayStation had been out for like what, a year and a half, 2 years at that point, I think. And basically, people were like, man, Nintendo, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna compete? And basically, Rare said, let's use these CGI graphics. And we bought these new computers. let's use them for something.
Oh, we can't also forget that was also the started of another game that started on that whole series which was of course
Killer Instinct.
Not Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat.
Well, digitized.
Digitized capture.
But here's the thing. Keep in mind that I think what WatchMojo was trying to be specific on the date, and I believe that they're going strictly for 1993, which is why they showed Star Fox and Virtua Fighter.
Well,
Virtua Fighter doesn't look that good, but Star Fox, that game is still eminently playable. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you could, as Red, you got the amiibo. You can play it under Star Fox now.
Well, I mean that's the case, but I mean the original game is still very much playable. Yes, it's like 20. It's like it hovers between 22 to 28 frames per second, but I mean it's still very much playable.
Now I remember there was another Pelogio 3D racer. I think that one was still um, on the Super NES, and that came
Stunt
out
Effects
before.
Racing.
I, yes.
Yeah, that game sucks.
Dang.
Now, I'm not gonna look. Not every game that has the Super FX chip, or even every 3D game, is gonna be good. Like there was that game that Sega came out with to prove that the Sega Genesis could do 3D, and it was like a racing game, but it was terrible. It was like one of the worst things ever.
Sonic Drift.
No, no, no.
Sonic Golf.
It was for the Genesis,
Sonic.
and it wasn't a Sonic game. It was like a racing. It was you had a red car and you had to race around a track, but it was like this game. This game
Outrun.
should have never been made. Yeah, there you go. Oh God,
What?
Outrun?
that's a turd on a cartridge.
God.
Oh, y'all too
What
crazy.
about Earthworm Jim 2? It has some stages where like 3D models. Is that considered early 3D?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about models in 3D. I mean, WatchMojo went with the whole 3D as an aspect thing, but I'm talking about the models too because some of the models really
Okay.
did, you know,
Yeah, Vector Man.
the models. I mean, Vector Man, it was simple because it was just orbs, so it pulled it off.
Yeah, but that's sort of 3D-esque models.
Well, spares were easy to do back then. You trying to do like, like with parallelograms and stuff like that. That's what was the difficult part. The program. So, anything you want to add to it, Quan or Andre? If you say, I know you guys mics. Nope.
Well, I want to say something.
Go ahead, Anderson.
I'll say that it all has to start somewhere, Now, many years later, some games, they're still playable even though they look dated. Others, they aged horribly and probably were not that fun to play back then.
Yeah,
It's all about the progress.
I could still play Metroid, Return of Samus, and the original Kirby, and and stuff like that without no problem.
Hell, I can
Yeah.
I can play Sonic 3D Blast if I wanted to as well.
Yeah, but why would you? Why would you?
Oh, that game is
Hey, I like them, so.
Well, you see, the man says
I'll
he
never
likes
stop
it.
kicking Sonic the Hedgehog even while he's down on the ground and that horse is dead. I'm going to keep on kicking it.
Man, the horse is resurging back, so let's keep it
No,
quiet.
that horse is dead.
Whatever, man.
This is just
Whatever.
look. It looks like it's breathing, but that's just the gas of the corpse building up. It's
The
dead.
Oh my
Sonic cycle,
god.
the Sonic cycle has begun yet again.
What you say, Kanoshi?
The Sonic cycle has begun yet again.
Well, we'll see what happens. If these two games come out and they do good, they do good, and then it is what it is.
They have to. They have to knock it out of the park.
If people stop hyping themselves out about Sonic and just enjoy whatever comes out, you'd be less disappointed, and the games wouldn't. They'd get less. They get shat on less. But because Sonic fans hype themselves up, this next one's gonna be awesome. It's like there hasn't been a really good Sonic game for years now.
Oh, not all Sonic fans are like that.
Me, Brownie, and Triple are probably guilty of that. So.
Well, yeah, but
What do you mean?
but it's to the usual. I'm a child, to each their own, because I have no problem with the advance. I have no problem with rushes. I have no problem with generations. I like those games.
I'm not saying whether or not the game is good, because that's a personal thing. I'm saying that fans' reception and consumers' reception of them is because a lot of them hype themselves up about it. Like if you go into something with lowered expectations, you'll enjoy it more than if you
Yeah. I have my WTF 10 talks about it. That's why I don't get happy about games no more, because of what happened with Metroid.
Yeah, Sonic games. Sonic fans going to Sonic games like they're like Mario fans going to Mario games. It's like, look, these people ain't Tokyo EAD. I'm sorry, you can't have those types of expectations on these people. You got look, man. Sega used to be awesome. They aren't anymore. You just gotta hope that the game comes out technically complete, and it's not like Sonic Boom. If it's better than that, they're betting pretty good. Like
Okay.
that's 800. That's pretty good.
All right.
I don't know. We'll discuss this later, but my expectations are as high as the Sonic fan games, like before the sequel and after the sequel. But yeah, let's move on.
Anyway, I
You're
don't
too
know. For anybody,
slow.
for people listening, yeah, I already see questions coming in. So yep, the question app is open. Hopefully, we get you these 10 lists and whatever, and then we'll answer the questions.
Non-Sonic related, please.
Yeah, Andre, we can. Oh, he just left.
Oh, dang.
I guess he'll come back.
Yep.
Papa,
Anyway,
no.
so let's go to the other one. Number 8, as you can see on the screen, is early copy protection.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
you
back.
know.
Papa is back.
I was trying to talk, but my mic was not getting through for some reason. So,
Damn you, Google.
All right, wait, okay.
because Google didn't like me.
Yeah, go ahead, Andre. You gonna say
No,
something?
the only thing I was going to say is you got to go into Sega games like you got to go into Capcom games. You don't expect much out of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just lower.
Oh,
It's kind of like that old Mad TV bit where they had the dating service for people who just like
Oh,
were not
God.
very lowered expectations. That's how you got to be with Sonic now. Lowered expectations.
God.
Oh
Dang,
God.
dang
Listen,
you.
listen. Look, if you are a Sonic fan, the only time you should get yourself hyped up is when it is a Sonic fan game.
No, if it's a 2D Sonic game, if it's a 2D Sonic game on a handheld, those have been pretty good.
Okay, yeah, those are okay.
If it's a 3D Sonic game on a console, it's a roll of the dice. You might crap out on that one. You got it.
Sonic kissed a girl. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay, hold
No one
on.
had to bring that up.
Wait a minute now. Sonic might have kissed a girl, but Peach possibly owned a dragon turtle. So.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
This is not random talks. Okay? Keep it in
That's why. Listen, that was why I kept the language clean.
Yeah,
Me
it's
and
not
my-
random talks.
I don't
Yeah.
not bring that up.
Next topic.
Let's
next
move on.
topic,
Yeah.
Early copy protection, people. Okay. Now I have to say this: the only copy protection I ever encountered was the way Super Nintendo cartridges had a certain way that they built it, so you couldn't do the you couldn't take it from the Famicom, Super Famicom to the Famicom, because the way was this little part of plastic that made it hard for you to. If you break the plastic off, you can play it anywhere. But that was the only thing I ever had, because the stuff that WATCHMOJO is talking about, since I wasn't an early PC because I couldn't afford none, I couldn't get into that. So anybody else? I know Quan right now. He's the oldest one who made they make these kind of games, and I think Mr. Red Fox, you too, they come PC stuff. So I don't know. Anything you want to add to it?
Well, I'm just gonna say this. They've always had this. They've always had copyright. They've always had copyright protection on PC and gaming. They always had it. It's always been there, and it's in my opinion, it's only gotten worse.
DRM.
Yeah, DRM as it is now is worse.
Oh, I thought
because
season pass.
even if you buy something legitimately now, in my opinion,
Still don't own it.
well, no, even if you buy it, there's still ways that they want to control how the content is used. Like, you have to, if people think that those constant patches, they say, well, these are stability patches. No, this is so that you can patch it so that it's to make sure it's a legitimate copy of the game and not a pirated version of the title. And, if someone even back then, even back in the day when they had all the little key card things, and you'd have to use secret classes. Look, people found a way to pirate it back then, and people will find a way to pirate it now. The only way I can tell you, with all these people, with all this DRM and anti-copyright protection, all that stuff, is if you make a good game, people will buy it.
Anyone remember
Regardless.
the Bible games?
Oh God, no one wanted to copy.
Super Noah's Ark 3D.
No one wanted to copy those. That was a legit company that made those too.
I actually remember seeing those in stores when I was younger. I was like, oh, what's that?
Yeah. Noah isn't killing the animals. He's feeding them. Yeah. He's feeding them.
I
till
mean,
they
Oh,
get food.
Super Noah's Ark 3D. Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Listen, just like I was fine with the religious games back in the day being on the shelf, anybody else wants to make any other type of game and not necessarily change one that's already existing, please just come do it.
I can't deal with it, man. I can't. I can't play Super Noah's Ark.
You know what, quick,
I wouldn't play it either, but I'm not discriminating its opportunity to exist. Well,
I'm gonna discriminate against it because when I was a kid, we had in my daycare we had an NES, an SNES, an Atari 50. The third one, the second one, the one that wasn't completely backwards paddle.
2200.
Yeah, or 2200 or the 7600. 7800, whatever. The third one, the one that's fully backwards compatible with all the stuff.
Man, they had way too many numbers. It was confusing.
Yeah, it's difficult, but we had that, and we also had a gaming PC that you could play Prince of Persia and F-14 Tomcat, which was a misnomer because you had other airplanes in that flight sim than a F-14 Tomcat, but whatever. But yeah, the game that we had for the Super Nintendo was Super Noah's Ark because it was a Catholic school 3D. I never want to see that game again. I mean, you know how Screw Attack has. I was just gonna say, you know how Screw Attack has that thing where they go and get those Shaq Fu cartridges and destroys them. Well, if I had the time, I would get together those Super Noah's Ark 3D games and destroy them, like burn them in a pyre.
Now, see, Red. This is why I say reproduction cards more than likely is Shaq Fu cards. It used to be.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't believe in destroying cartridges. I'm like, never destroy a cartridge. But Super Noah's Ark 3D, first of all, those are bootleg cartridges to start with. And second of all, they can go to hell.
You said a Bible game to go to hell. Wow.
yeah, ironic.
The Bible games are always terrible. They're bootlegs of other games.
They aren't holy. What the heck?
They're terrible.
You said they're not holy. What the hell?
But
They're holy something else, that's for sure.
But I was I wasn't old enough, or I'm not old enough to actually had this certain experience, at least back in the late '70s. But I've heard stories that these type of games with the whole that copyright protection on them, ooh, they were a mother father to play, because if you didn't have a person that can actually supply those
Keys.
those keys, those papers, or those codes, and especially for some and I'm an islander, so back in the '70s, at least printing, you have to be a freaking rich person to actually.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about because the key cards on Commodore 64. I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That is true about that. All right. Well, I think
we've exhausted that topic.
Yep. and it's kind of funny for us right now, like right now, give me a second here, like for since as you said, Triple, like we're islanders. And to see that they're using look at this one they're using right here with massive St. Kitts Antigua Barbados. I bet you they messed up. That's supposed to be Tortuga, not Tortuga. I'm messing up. I know Tortuga is an island, but it's just funny as hell to see it within all these Caribbean islands.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have that. So we're going
shit.
Oh my gosh.
It's ruined.
Most being has came in.
So we're going to the next topic, which is
Wait, can I comment on this first?
all right.
I'll just say this: is that Insomniac Games find out the secret to stopping piracy. You can't. So you might as well just make a good game and hope that people buy it.
Well,
You
yeah.
think, but they don't want to do that. Like Ubisoft, they're like, man, people are going to pirate our Far Cry game. No one's going to pirate your shitty Far Cry game. I mean, people do, but
The extremes people go to do stuff. So,
Yeah.
number 7. Next topic is bad translations.
All your base are
Jimmy.
belong to us.
Yep.
Billy and Jimmy.
I'm gonna have to play the opposite side of the spectrum. I like bad translations because it gave us some of the most memorable lines in video games, like
Your
you
base are
spoony
belong to
bard. No, you spoony bard from Final Fantasy IV, aka Final Fantasy II.
Okay, those kind of bad translations, those I can get behind.
Yeah, not as bad as like basically not as bad as the Metal Gear on NES.
Yeah, but that
I
game
fell
was-
asleep.
That game was butchered from the start anyway.
What's up, peeps?
How's it going?
Hey, Dr. Biggie.
Done playing Splatoon?
All right.
Excellent play.
You playing Sailor Mirage?
No, I'm playing Splatoon.
Okay.
Catch hold prison breakers.
He's playing Squid Kid, The Chronicles.
Prison Break? Wow.
Catch hold of prison breakers.
Yeah.
That is. Are you tough enough? Are you tough enough to stay? I mean, look, listen. The translations were just. You have to remember, a lot of these games were originally Japanese, and people were like, these weren't. A lot of the people translating this weren't official translators. They were just members of the dev team. In some cases, a Japanese person trying to barely translate the shit into English. Or someone who really didn't understand Japanese trying to translate the stuff from Japanese into English. So
And it was a rush job. As I give to WATCHMOJO, they were talking about most of the time back then. They had a game. People had an affinity for the game, and they saw that we have a Western market, for it, and they just didn't. They were like, okay, we don't have the money to do a full translation. So whatever you can translate, get it out there, get it out the door.
Congratulations.
Yep. And of course, the one that you see on the screen right now is the one that everybody's talked about. All your base.
Infamous.
Hell, it's still. We still have bad translations today. I mean, Resident Evil Revelatons.
Oh, yeah.
Box art.
Yeah, they misspelled Revelations. How you messed that up? All you gotta do is go online and see, and it's in the Bible. It's Revelations.
I wouldn't consider that one a bad translation, but just a horribly placed typo.
yeah.
You
Winner
must-
is you.
A winner is you.
All your base belong to
That
us.
one technically makes sense, though. The winner is you.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how you spin it.
Yeah, no, I got you. I'm just giving people that.
Some translations, though, I mean, it ain't all bad, because the arcade version of Street Fighter 2 Ryu says you must defeat Shing Long to stand a chance, and everyone thought it was like a hidden character.
No, he said that in Super Street Fighter New Challengers too.
Losing you again, Andre.
I think it was only up to Super Weekend. I think in Super Weekend they changed it to the red translation.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was, most of us here could go through a couple more lists of bad translations and how it worked out. But you know what? It was an era of the time, as Kanoshi said about with in certain game. I could go with Kanoshi what he was saying about rotary phone for the smartphone. Technically speaking, I can't. There's a progress that people have. Okay, you have a smartphone. I've said this before. You have a smartphone. The only thing the smartphone can't do is make freaking phone calls most of the time. So I don't. So how smart is that? It could do internet stuff. That's great. But the thing that you bought the thing for, it doesn't do the primary function. Because many times,
Yeah.
huh?
Kind of like the new consoles.
Oh,
Oh,
Nah.
that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
See, you guys gotta stop. You guys gotta stop. You guys gotta stop making sense. See, I told all you people to stop making sense.
Just one thing about
Andre, you keep on going in and out.
Papa's going away.
Andre, come out. Drop out. Drop back in.
Man, you get the worst luck with Google. Seriously. You get the
Who's
worst luck.
playing Metroid Prime 2 Echoes?
It's Skynet becoming self-aware now.
Okay.
No, the thing about the Street Fighter 2 mistranslation that they could have done, they could have actually made a character off of it, but they weren't smart enough.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about it in one of your videos. You were saying
that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it. They did it after the fact.
They finally
Yeah.
did, but they had to
Can't
wait
go,
till Street
kid.
Fighter 4.
So
Yeah, he was just
No,
mentioned before
but
that
even
game.
still, Shenlong could be a character. Who is he? Because Gokid is not Shenlong. That's not his name. That was never his name.
nope.
Man, I don't know.
I don't know.
Street Fighters are the masters of making stuff after the fact. They're like, this is a good idea. We should make a character about this after the fact.
Shenlong
Uh-oh. It's happening again.
Here we go again.
Yeah, you suck. Google did not like you.
Who hates me?
Damn
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
we
hear you,
can.
Doc. All right,
Oh,
well,
is it? Sure.
okay, well, let's go. Let's go to something I think a lot of us have a little experience with. Number 6, arcade style difficulty.
I call salty on that one.
No. There's at least 2 games that actually falls in this, and I remember Ian from Pat ENS Punk actually talking about at least with Gauntlet for a amount of period of time, your life bar just drained, like no explanations. And that before that, but I actually remember that I've seen a Spider-Man arcade game that was actually ported on a console. I forgot which one. I think it was the Sega Genesis, I believe. But it had this same thing where amount of time passed and your life bar your health bar starts to drain. And I remember Advanced Stages was actually playing that game, and he basically stands still. And you basically saw the life bar just drain. And I'm like, okay, this is Bullocks actually. Now, in case with Gauntlet, where Ian basically basically brought up the argument that I forgot which.
Why is that game so hard?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that Atari said, the reason why the health bar in Gauntlet goes down is because your character is hungry. And I'm like, okay, that is actually plausible, but if that life bar just drains away when the player isn't doing nothing and just standing still, that's what I call Bullocks too. Because I can see your life being drained, the certain actions that you do, or even just walking. But if it goes away while you're standing still, yeah, that's Bullocks.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm the person who plays Turtles in Time in easy mode and does the life code on Contra, so I'm one of those people. But yeah.
I give it to somebody who's an aficionado in it. I want to hear him say, Red, what about you? The arcade style difficulty.
He got his mic on mute.
Once again, I'm
Oh, there it is.
taking the other side of the equation. Arcade difficulty was hard, and it made us. We were kids, so we couldn't really curse. It made us take our controllers and fling them on the ground, or if you have the NES controller, use it as a nunchuck and smash it on the ground. But that tenacity made us into the tough gamers we are today. See, these young gamers, they want to make things easy and go easy and this game is too hard. No, you got look. I'm, I'm going to give you an example right now. Okay, recently, Killer Instinct, their final character has been announced, and it's Idol from the original Killer Instinct. He was the final boss. Now, if you played that game on its hardest difficulty, you probably got your ass kicked by Idol so many times that you can remember how the combos sounded, and you do a 17-hit combo on your ass. And you had to go through that humiliation multiple times until you got good enough to beat him.
I never did on hard. I did on normal difficulty and still lost a lot.
I did it on ultra because I was that good. And I had to get that good by dying tons of times. So, I mean, that's just how gaming was back then. So, you know, that made us into better gamers.
Yes, I will also bring out that counter argument sided with Red Fox. The time that I still had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, 2, that was put from the arcade version. I died so many times in that game, and then I got so good that I could have actually played. I could have done one playthrough without dying. Without losing a life. The only time I did is when I finally reached Krang.
Yeah, Krang's pretty tough. But I mean, I'm just saying that the difficulty back then was.
Well, let me give context to people out there who are listening. The context basically is back in the day when we would think because the market had crashed, Nintendo came in, kind of saved it, so we had a resurgence in a way, and a lot of people was trying to take their arcade games and pass it down to Nintendo or the Genesis or the Master System, whatever, just so they could get more money because they made a game for the arcade system, and it was one of those things that was pretty cool for gamers like us. Like, wow, they made a home port of this game, and if your family bought it, you're like, damn, I'm not gonna go to the arcade that much to play this or whatever. So, what they used to do is they still had that tenacity from the arcade that you had, like Contra, one-hit kill. You get hit, you're done.
That's not bullocks at all because that
helps my reflexes.
One life, one shot, one kill.
Yeah, you got one-hit kill. You had one-hit kill. Also, you had times where the game itself was, like I said, artificially because they know that they want to get the quarters out of you, like Battletoads. That they trick your ass because Battletoads made you think, oh, maybe it'd be so cool to have a second player. Oh, we could hit each other. Oh, son of a! And that tunnel part of that game, the one where you're coming down and you could do a wrecking ball by accident, and you swing from left to right as a wrecking ball. Oh man, it was nice. People lost in that thing with friends.
And that's how Miley Cyrus got her song.
Okay, no.
I came in the wrecking ball.
Now I would just eject it to y'all for saying that dumbass joke in here. No, but.
But it ain't me this time.
Yeah, but you had that's where as a reference, that's what we're talking about. They used to do that kind of stuff, or the game design also level in with the controller sometimes because sometimes the controller was stiff. Sometimes like the one that you saw Ninja Turtles for the NES, yeah, the controls were stiff.
The Ninja Turtles for the first game, not the arcade port.
No, that was it. The one for the NES.
Oh, yeah, those controls did stuff. Man.
No, there was the one. Okay, right now you should be seeing on your screen that one. Oh
yeah, I'm not.
Yes, that one. Yeah,
I'm not denying to you. The controls in that game were atrocious.
That was exhausting.
I mean, you could move and you could fight. The problem is that it was just that they didn't have the fluidity. Really, like you see how Contra, even though it had one hit or whatever. Those guys could still jump and move fluid through the game. But as you can see right here, but is that the Turtles was like stiff. You try to go up, you try to move. Oh man,
Which again, to WATCHMOJO's dismay, that part right there, where the dude basically jumped over that machinery and fell down to his death. That's what I call, dude, you were just sucking at that time.
Yeah, I think that was an intentional death in that guy's regards. I mean, look, listen. A lot of these companies, like Konami, had been making games for the MSX in the arcade. So the MSX technically was a gaming PC, but also kind of like a console of its time. But that was like in 82, 83 in Japan. That was before they started putting games on the Famicom and the and the NES. So I mean, you know, like a lot of these people are coming from the arcade and they're using new hardware. So yeah, it took a little bit. They had to get good. It was not easy, if you will.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in on the difficulty? Andre, is your mic working good enough?
You alert?
Nope. We have Dragon and we have Dr. Feelgood. Anything about the arcades, guys? Since you're on the podcast. Quit the Splatoon before I eject your ass. What the hell? You gonna say something or
Unless he's
not?
playing it online.
Oh no.
No, he's trying to get his super snails.
He ain't gonna try to get a super snail because he's still salty from that game.
Oh wow.
I mean, come on. If Dr. Feelgood is so sorry, I mean, he's basically doing the antithesis of what the Switch sisters are actually proclaiming. They fresh.
I know, right?
You see his profile, right? The man who
I know,
middle
right?
finger.
I don't care. But for real though, Dr. Feelgood, anything about arcade difficulty back in the day when you were growing up?
He's muted. Who? Okay.
Nah, he probably muted himself. I'm
Okay.
glad. I do glad that some hard that arcade style still exists, or like I still can play them and still get good at them eventually. I still enjoy those kind of games, like Bullet Hell.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
In my
Yes.
opinion, it depends on what kind of game you're playing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can hear you now, Doc. You have something to say about the difficulty curve back in the days?
It was a bitch. That's all I can say. There were more than a few arcade games, man, that would literally, kick your ass.
Eat your quarters.
Hell, NBA Jam, hell, even the midway games would do it.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Rush.
They did because when you start winning, you're like, oh yeah, I got a nice decent lead, and then the next quarter starts, you're like, what the hell just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, the Rubber Bandit was almost as bad as Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you're right about the jam park. I do remember sometime when you did. I'm like, he's hitting these threes from half court. Come on now. He keep on hitting them. He like it's not like one time so okay, a fluke, but he like the computer just coming out 3, 4. I'm like, really?
3, 3, 3, 3.
Yeah, it was like, what the hell?
Or they'd have super defense where like they could you'd get the ball, you'd make it halfway down the court, they'd swipe it and go down the court and hit one of those boom shakalaka slam dunks, and you're like, come on, man. Like even if I put in a code and I get Bill Clinton or the Lizard, I couldn't do that shit at home. How are you doing this shit on the computer using the CPU on the arcade machine?
My favorite one though was when on NBA Jam the computer would get so pissed off that when you go do like a super dunk, they push you out of it at the end of it as you're about to dunk in the goal.
Yep. They just pull it off. They just pull it off. But I mean, like I said, those were the games back then. So it was, like I said, difficulty was there. They just did a simple port sometimes. Sometimes you get good ports. Sometimes you get atrocious ports.
Before microtransactions, we had insert coin to continue.
Hey, that's what it was. But again, that was a business.
That's going back to.
Huh?
That's the turn we're going back to.
Yeah, I would say
That was technically the early microtransaction, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the microtransaction. It was because you had a quarter. You wanted to play the game, you had to put in a quarter. Now, if you play a fighting game, you, as Mr. Red Fox said on our off-air cast, like I said back in the day when we used to have arcade, and this would be a topic for later on another podcast. But you had to bring your quarters, put it up there, and say, hey, talk that game, and you got to talk that game and back it up.
Yeah, like the arcade we have here in town. Like, I mean, I'm glad I'm glad it still exists, like here in town and whatnot. But the problem is, it's all set to free play. Like, there's nothing like the sound of a coin dropping in the machine, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's not quite there.
Got you. Jaguar 15. You got anything you want to add to this subject?
I mean, I'm kind of a pretty young kind of guy and gamer, so I haven't really played too much arcades. Maybe like some machines. I do kind of I did kind of play some machines, you know, back in like when I was really young. When I kind of inserted a coin, and yeah, that place wasn't. You know, that place was pretty much gone a long time ago.
Okay, you know what? Let me ask this quick question here again. This question will be asked again when I do this podcast. But, okay. Andre, you there? No. Okay. Mr. Red Fox.
Yes.
What was the place that you first encountered an arcade?
Ironically, the first arcade game that I ever played, the first place that I ever went to that was like an arcade was Chuck E. Cheese. And the second place was the barber shop where I used to get my hair cut. Like, cause right next to it was like a little like arcade that like had like I want to say 8 machines.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. What about Triple M? What about you? What was the first place you encountered an arcade?
This is kind of difficult because the place where it was a building that actually had an arcade room, which it was kind of like heaven. But how can I explain it? It's kind of like a nightclub kind of a place. Yeah, the nightclub you guys are thinking is entirely different than what I am trying to describe. But yeah.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Feelgood? What was your first place at arcade?
Mine was at the West End in downtown Dallas. And I remember seeing, like, I think it was Mace the Dark Age and a few other games. The one I spent most of my money on, of course, was NFL Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom, the very first one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I in the barber shop next to where I used to get my hair cut. When I used to spend the summers in Florida with my grandparents. They had Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They had
and also Action vs. Street Fighter, that one too.
Yeah, they had
Marvel vs. Capcom came
Street
out.
Fighter 2. They had a Sega Marvel game that instead of having like the usual roster, it had like Silver Surfer and a Sentinel and stuff like that. And I forget what the title was, but it was pretty good. They had Spider-Man, the arcade game. Of course, they had X-Men. You know, now welcome to Jine.
Oh snap! I actually forgot
that one.
Yeah, they had Turtle. They had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, and Turtles in Time.
Yeah, I actually forgot the place of mine, what kind of arcade it has, and which I've played. That was the first time I actually played Virtua Fighter, and there was one skiing game that I was mad about that. And it was big. It basically had that rig that mimics like an actual ski. I remember there was also some Mortal Kombat games, and also I think it was three arcades that actually had replica of motorbikes that you can ride on.
Okay.
That sounds pretty cool. Actually.
Oh, by the way, the place was used to call Mambo Beach Hotel. It wasn't a nightclub; it was actually a hotel.
What about you, Kenoshi? What was the first place that you played at arcade?
Probably, yeah, that's probably Chuck E. Cheese for me too. When I was a kid. First
Chuck E.
thinking
Cheese?
cheese, an arcade. Or if the Godfather says small pizza joint that I used to go to on Saturday nights up the street.
All right.
Younger.
Well,
Pizza's
Addison.
fun.
Okay, Addison. Yeah. What about you?
Out of me,
Yeah.
it was either the Circus Hotel in Las Vegas or a pizza chain that's no longer in America. That's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, except the pizza's actually good and there's no animatronics, called Peter Piper Pizza.
Subway Zone?
Look, let me tell you something, man. Chuck E. Cheese pizza is not good, but there's nothing like that large, cheesy, molten hot cheese with hot pepper on it, and
I'll
just
leave that
right
to
out
you.
the oven. Oh,
Sorry for those who are
disgusting.
hungry.
I got
But
something
it's
better than
really
that.
good.
Who remembers Showbiz Pizza?
No,
Oh,
sorry.
good. Yeah, that's a
That's
lot.
probably a West Coast thing.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It's probably a West Coast thing. On the East Coast, it was Little Caesars. Because people, if you live on the East Coast, you probably remember when Little Caesars was
Was Little
good.
Caesars or it was seasonal? No,
Well, Little Caesars used to be good, and then they kind of they changed their ingredients because they wanted to make more money off the pizza, and they kind of went downhill. So
I got you. Hey, what about you, Brownie? When was your first place to play arcade?
Chinese restaurant, they had Galaga.
Oh,
Wow.
that's a good one.
Galaga.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, wait. If it's a Chinese restaurant, that Galaga game is not a knockoff, right? It's the
No.
No, it was not a knockoff. Back then they weren't doing that kind of
I
crazy
remember
stuff.
yeah. Yeah, it was Galaga, I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Did I ask you right?
No, you didn't.
What's yours?
It was in the mall. This is where I used to live. Like there was like no mall in the county, so we had to go travel like 10, 15 minutes because I was in the boondocks. But the mall I used to go to all the time, it had like an arcade. It had like I call about 20, 25 machines, and so then the first game I ever played in terms of like actually at the arcade was this Pac-Man.
All right.
Really, you went old school like that. Huh?
Yeah.
real cool.
Okay.
Probably because it was the first one right there at the door, so.
What about you, Dragon?
He's muted.
Oh, he's gone. He'll be right back.
Okay. And of course, Andre's not back. So I would say for me, when I first came to America in 1989, and we used to go to the laundromat. So it was so I did the laundromat. You had Street Fighter, Pac-Man, and what's the one where you have like the little thing on the like a little like the Pong but upside like vertical.
Breakout.
It was Breakout? Okay, yeah, that's the.
Or either that or Arkanoid, but it's the same.
Arkanoid. I know it was an A. Arkanoid. That's what I had. Those are the three games I saw. So when they had the extra quarters from the laundry, they used to give it to me and my cousins, and we go there and play. So yep. So like I said, everybody, like I said, this will evolve into his own podcast later on. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. We're halfway through, so let's keep on going. Now this is something that's going on now. I think everybody here mostly understand this one, which was back then we didn't. Of course, it was in we didn't have internet, so we didn't have no online internet guides. Who wants to go first?
Man, that's bullocks.
No, they didn't have online guides back then. You know what they had? They had the 900 number you call and like you try and hide from your parents.
Exactly. I was going to say that.
Your parents would find out that you called it because they look at the
wanna
bill
know-
and then they beat your ass.
You want to know?
I never used. I just got Nintendo Power or something.
You want to know what they really had? Friends. That's what we had.
Well, I mean, if your
that
friends
helped me
didn't
too.
have that game, you just had to figure out. You had to learn intuition and visual cues and stuff like that. Unless you were playing a game like this game, Castlevania 2, which was
Oh God.
there was no hints whatsoever. But most of the other games, there was logic to it. You had to understand the game's logic, and once you did, it was easier to figure things out.
Especially point and click games.
Well, yeah, because I remember on the Game Boy Color and on the NES, I had Shadowgate, and that game is, I mean, it's a point and click game. It's an adventure game, and that game, some of the puzzles are like, what WTF? Luckily, I had the Nintendo Power for that game, so I was able to get farther into it.
Well, I mean, back again, we had, like I said, the first one you brought up was what I'm gonna bring up, Red. Yes, I remember those times, boy. Ooh, yeah, just like, dang it, because I remember getting the game that I used that 100 it was the Nintendo thing was Zelda Ocarina of Time. I was trying to figure it out, and I was like 900 number, and I was like, I know I should not be doing this. I should not be doing this. I tried to play it off and hide the bill, but I was like, I was stupid back then. I was like, of course my mom's gonna see the bill and see that it is an international call.
Yeah, I mean that was an ass whooping, wasn't it?
Yep, it was. That was my LBC back then. I was stupid.
Now, probably for me, it wasn't so much egregious because maybe because of the type of games that I've played, but yeah, the type of games I played really I did not need game guides because you like platformers. You can finish those things even in one go if you're actually good enough.
Yep. Well, like I said, for me, I mean, I could say something here, but let me see. Doc, you got anything you want to say about this?
Nothing. I can understand. I can understand games like Legend of Zelda.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
No,
Okay.
that damn game.
Look, man, I enjoy playing games. I'm pretty sure you do too.
Yeah, I ain't no Mario Maker now, am I?
I get to an addict.
Go ahead, Doc.
What was your question?
We're talking about no online guides.
No online guides?
Yeah, back then we didn't have no online guides.
Oh no!
No
Like
game
back
facts
then, I
back then.
mean, back then, I mean, if you wanted any tips on how to beat a game or get by a certain part, you had to get a magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, I subscribed to a whole bunch of them. Game Pro, Video Game Magazine. It was more than a few.
And if it wasn't in the magazine, you just had to play the game and just get stuck and go into a loop until you tried something crazy and you figure it out.
This is where you network with friends and you would ask them if they knew how to do it because they.
Well,
they
again,
might
that's
have
what Kenoshi said. Yeah, friends. That's what Kenoshi just said.
Well, I mean, I would agree with you guys, but my tastes in video games back then were vastly different from my friends. Like my friends liked Mortal Kombat. I was playing Killer Instinct. They liked like they were really into let's see, Golden Axe. I was into Final Fight. They were into Shining Force. I was into Final Fantasy. They couldn't help me with my gaming problems, and I couldn't help them with their gaming problems.
So Red had himself.
I had to figure it out on my own, and that's how you become a better gamer. You learn to crunch through that stuff, and that's how you figure out little tips and tricks of your own making about how to get through games.
Hey, Red Fox, was that a pun? Because I used to subscribe to Tips and Tricks magazine.
Yes, that is a unintended pun. You are correct, sir. Kudos to you for catching it. A cigar for you.
But you know what?
So, but that means did that actually stop that we didn't have online games for you guys, Red Fox and Dr. Field?
I mean, it's kind of like a double-edged sword almost. Because I mean, online like GameFAQs, I'll keep it real, has helped. Like a lot of old games that I never quite beat. Because, just frankly speaking, I'd get stuck at a point and I couldn't get past it. GameFAQs has made it easier. And it's not like I looked at GameFAQs to get to the end. It was like this one thing was stumping me. I found it. I found the solution. I got around it. So in that way, it's been useful. But in some ways, it's it kind of takes out the mystique of playing a game because like that whole thing of being stuck and you figuring it out. It's kind of like when you played Legend of Zelda and there was a puzzle, any Legend of Zelda, and there was a puzzle and you finally had that aha moment when it clicked with you. And then you'd figure it out, and you'd have that sense of accomplishment because you figured out the puzzle.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like one of the games I like playing that gives you that aha moment that I like playing now. Zelda don't challenge me that much. Was Professor Layton.
Oh yeah.
When I forgot, like,
Oh wow.
when I'm playing Professor Layton, I'm like, oh my god, the answer was that simple. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But really, so I don't. Like for me, it's funny. Like I said, I don't look at game facts, stuff like that. That's not my thing. My sister could vouch for that close. And she was like, "Why don't you just go there and look?" I'm like, "I ain't doing that." Or YouTube or whatever. I ain't doing that. I want to figure it out my damn self. Maybe that's the hardness I had. Now who's that now?
Who is doing that?
Dragon Swords.
No.
We're like one of those guys. We're like the guy that's dragging and probably get it across. I ain't asking for directions to do that.
Okay.
But one of the. I was gonna say.
I mean, even some guys didn't help you because I had this Super NES game called Real Monsters, and I remember that's one of my toughest games I had as a kid because it was so long, and if you didn't have a continue or if you ran out of lives, it's all the way back to the beginning. I don't know if any of you guys played that.
I've played it.
I've watched the cartoon.
Like that.
I've rented it. I beat it. That is a hard game.
The Toy Story game was that way too.
So Dr. Phil, still there.
Yeah.
Anybody remember the RC part in Toy Story?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Disney games were always kind of hard back in the day. You know who else had hard games? LucasArts on the SNES.
Super Star Wars.
If you ever played Super Empire Strikes Back, that game is the devil. It's literally the devil.
That's the devil.
Yeah. So now here's the question, Dr. Feelgood.
What?
Did online did it suck back then that you didn't have guides online?
No.
Not even if you had a game like Mario's Missing by accident.
Well, that's
yeah, but Mario.
That's you picking. That's you or your family picking that now. Like
yeah, but Mario is Missing. All you had to do was understand basic geography, and you could figure that out. I mean, that wasn't like, oh my god, this is so hard.
Geography or history?
If you're a 4-year-old kid and you don't understand geography, yeah, that game was
history, but
unable to not history, geography. You were screwed. But I mean, you know, if you did,
like I said, like for me, I think it's wired into my brain to not use. Like I said, I have guys in my house, but I use that after if I want 100% a game most of the time.
Yeah.
So that's. But I've never. I don't go to game facts or game whatever to find stuff like that. No. I figure out, I bought a game, try to figure it out. Excuse me, try to figure it out, and it is what it is right there.
You can't figure it out, man. That's all right. Just go on to just throw it away and go to the next game.
Not even if you had moments like I did with Super Metroid. Not even that.
That was you. No, I never did. I did not use the guy for no Metroid 100%.
Oh, man. 99, the one on NES or Zelda, or not Zelda, Metroid 2?
Metroid 2 is not that hard. I mean,
my first
one is harder.
My first Metroid was Metroid 2, and then I went back to Metroid 1, and I did that. So I went 2, then 1, then 3, of course, with the Super Metroid. So yeah, I got used to it. So I figured out what I got to do.
I did the same thing. I went Metroid 2, Return of Samus, then I did the original Metroid, and then I did Super Metroid. And to tell you the truth, the original Metroid is really like the easiest. Or not the original. Metroid 2, Return of Samus is actually the easiest. Because I mean, you don't have to collect a lot of stuff. You literally everything you need you find along your way. And if you know what you're doing, you can beat the Metroids easy. Except for the Queen Metroid, that is a bad.
That is hard.
Well,
She
that
is.
is that and the Omega, because you have to hit the Omega.
Yeah,
also two
but
spots
I
too.
mean,
But
Queen.
go ahead.
Oh Jesus. Still, like everyone's like, oh, the Omega Metroid, Metroid Prime. The Queen from Metroid 2: Return of Samus. That is a bad mamma jamma.
Yep. Well, before I go into that, it goes into still to a topic that we had, what was a joke was. So now, all so far it's coming all together. Games were more difficult, so we had the tendency to even though we coming in the money, and that was the game that we had to choose that we had to play because our parents were not buying it like that. We had to soldier on through. And then we didn't have no guides, we didn't have no online stuff like we just said, all that stuff. But now you get people now, and you got microtransactions to say, you know what, I don't want to do that. Let me get an easy fatality, just one button. Don't want to put an energy to it. Oh, but the game fact. Huh?
Fatalities aren't even. Fatalities are just aesthetics. It's not like.
No, well, as you said, but it was again. The only thing I have with fatalities is that's like the slam dunk if you play in a game. It's still very important part of Mortal Kombat. But I was giving an example of. It's funny that we have a lot of people now who do not want to, and that's why these companies are taking advantage of them. They do not want to take the challenge and learn the stuff, so they give them microtransactions to get everything easy now.
That means they're not actually getting
Huh?
Someone okay?
So that means they're not getting the play more.
Swords.
Okay, go. Oh.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, that was that's the thing what's going on now. Like we have online stuff now. You can see stuff and everything. So yeah, it's just weird how this situation is now that everything's right there for you.
I got a question though. Is it weird that people are okay with microtransactions to proceed with a game, but they dump on super guides, optional super guides for that matter?
Those are special type of people.
Yeah, they're special. They are. You're absolutely right. They are special.
Because here's the thing. You have an option to use. You have the option to use it. You had a special. Let me see. You had an option to use the guides or not, and you have an option to spend money. Now, the guides right there is after you fail a couple times, it acts up. But for some of these people, like just to again, I'm not spending no money for skins. I'm not spending no money for just to get an armor or nothing for that stuff. Hell no. Y'all want to go there? Go ahead. But to get angry, like you said, and then to see people can't. They're angry that they got the super moves or whatever, and then they still can't beat the game. That even sucks worse. Star Fox, Polygon.
Oh snap!
Anyway, so
Polygon. Before we can proceed, any of you bought strategy guides just for the exclusive art? Oh yeah.
That's right. I have that.
Yeah, I have. I mean, that's why I got Metroid Prime 3 Corruption's strategy guide was for the artwork.
I got Echoes.
I got one. I think I got 1, 2, and 3 for the artwork. Mojiro's mask. I think I showed that when I got my new 3DS. Yo, Dragon, what is it? Someone robbing you or something? I'm trying. You coming through like somebody's kicking your ass or something.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I'm saying, I don't know if your mic is pretty good because it's picking up all the ambient noise in your house, bro. Every single thing, and it sounds like somebody's coming in your house and kicking your ass. That's what it sounds like.
Or if you're falling down.
Yeah.
I think that might be because of the chair I'm studying on.
That chair is really cranky.
I know, right? I don't know. But we go to the next topic, which is something that most of us here once again say stuff. No patches.
I call
Let me
call pull-ups on that one. Reason why I'm calling it because even though there's not exact there weren't exactly downloadable patches. There was still some games that came out back in the day that there was versions of it. Anyone remember the whole Ocarina of Time where Ganondorf's blood been switched from green to red?
Red,
Hey,
red to
that's
green.
a patch. That's actually a patch. But then there was games at the time that when there was a bug or a glitch that was really bad, really bad, that some company actually um, does a return service and give out the update version of a game. And so far that I've known, so far that I've known that Nintendo was one of the companies that actually did that when it got really bad. On top of that, Watch Mojo, you piece of twat. Of all the
Jesus!
I feel you.
Not from Mr. Congeniality over here. No.
Right?
show,
They must have really pissed him off. He's
Well, I mean, okay, wait.
What game did they show that pissed him off?
Let's say this. Most of these right here are glitches, but it's mostly like all you had to do was like take the cartridge out, blow on it, and it fixes it. Most of these
Not-
things Watch Mojo is showing.
Yeah, it's not like the division.
some of these glitches
No.
you have to do so much hard stuff to actually get those
Now, that's
glitch
gonna give me a seizure.
functions.
you had to be doing something to get these glitches to happen. This wasn't like you're playing the game because, like, okay, I guarantee, like, they show Mortal Kombat up here. I guarantee that 100 times you would plug that game into your SNES or Sega Genesis, and none of that would happen. Same thing with Mega Man. Same thing with.
That's what I'm saying. You get
Donkey
it. You will get it once in a while, but that's not a broken game because all you gotta do is take it out, blow it, bam, and it's back. And you good.
Now the one
I call bullshit on this thing.
the one that they're actually was showing just a moment ago, Silicon Valley Space Station.
Yeah.
That I can actually agree with. That's actually a bug where I had an experience with that because I was looking for this this golden faucet and I definitely couldn't get it. It was right there. I'm going through it and it was, but that doesn't mean that the game is actually broken because you could technically still beat the game even without finding all of those golden faucets.
Well, like I said, like the one on the screen right now, this has happened to me a couple of times when I would play my Genesis again, but the game never. Like I said, back then we know what the game was. We take it out, I blow it, put it back in, pop, tails back on the ground. That's all it was. So
Back then you had to get rid of the glitch gremlin.
Shout outs to the angry game there, that Glitch Gremlin in his episode, which was funny as hell. You getting dust? Well, he said you getting dust on a new game. Get out of here! If you want to blow something, blow these. At that point, Glitch Gremlin is holding his balls, talking about what about blow these.
Blow these nuts.
It's just it's.
But you know what? Okay, go ahead, Red.
No, I was just gonna say it's cool that patches exist. If you want to add extra content to a game, you can just add it to the digital version of the game through the power of the internet. That's cool. If Square Enix wanted to pop up and say, "Hey guys, we're gonna add three extra side stories to Chrono Trigger for anyone who has the 16-bit version of it on through the Wii Virtual Console or on PS3 or PS whatever. We're doing that because you bought this game. That'd be cool. I wouldn't get mad about that. But patching as it's used now, where it's abused now, and that's the problem. It's abused now. It's like, we don't need to give you a complete game. We'll just fix it later.
Remember the famous quote from Ubisoft? The guy was saying, "Hey, now we can release a game that's 80% now, and we patch it later."
Yeah, we'll fix it later. I mean, no one else who sells a product could get away with that. You couldn't sell someone 80% of a car. It's like, hey man, this car doesn't steer so good. We'll fix it later.
And you know what? Back in those days, I'm happy they had no patches because, as Red just said, what happened was, if you got a game, and this never happened to me, but the point is, I have to see as a society thing, like for gamers, like if you done screwed up already with a game, like the Bible games and stuff like that, We know we're not gonna go to. That's why. That's why. Was it JNL? I was spelling it right.
JLN.
LJN.
JLN.
LJN.
LJN. That's why a lot of people hated LJN because when they see that rainbow, like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Hell, patches has made developers more lazy.
Well,
Some of them.
again, Red give a good example of where it could be used good, but then,
Mhm.
but when you see some of the patches like Assassin's Creed Unity or
No, exactly
Halo,
those people,
or Halo
not
Chief
the good
Master,
ones.
or Halo Chief Master Collection.
Warner
when it's like,
Brothers. Batman.
well, again, as I said, when you find out the patches are like 20 gigs, you're like, what the frig? What the hell are you guys doing? That's basically that's again like Red said, like that's the game right there.
Yeah, it's called poor optimization because they don't believe in efficiency.
Oh,
No,
dang
it's
it!
called.
You just mentioned the dirty word.
It's called. We're rushing this shit to get it out as quickly as humanly possible, and we don't care if we don't, because we know gamers will take it. We know they'll just accept it. They won't say anything. They'll accept it.
And I think about I put it all together. Let's put all this together. So now to give you a perfect storm. Let's put this all together. Give you a perfect storm. Like what Assassin's Creed Unity was. You short CGI. You don't show real gameplay. You got some of these game media hyping up the game, talking, oh, this is a good game, whatever. You got Ubisoft saying that once we get as long as we get to 80%, we're gonna put it out. We can patch the game later. All that comes together, and then you just get a shitty game. The difficulty of it now is most gamers now are programmed because they want to be a part of the in crowd of popularity that they're gonna buy the game because everybody else is buying it, which is the sad part about this generation.
Yep. If Ubisoft taught me anything, is that you can sell the most broken thing that's ever been commenced in the gaming industry, and people will still buy it in droves.
Well, only Ubisoft, as Red said, WB, because again, if one game effed up before, why would you pre-order the other game without even knowing what the hell happened?
Because
you could go back to my channel and see how many times I said I'm not buying Batman Arkham Knight day one because of what happened with seeing what all the Arkham Knight, we seen what happened to Oranges and stuff because of how they did a bad port. And lo and behold,
man,
it's
a different developer, and plus it only happened on PC.
No, that's first of all, that's bullshit. every version of every Arkham game on PC has had a terrible launch. All of them, and all of them on console have had major stability issues. Arkham Asylum had stability issues. It was broken at launch for some people. Arkham City had stability issues. It was broken at launch for some people. Arkham Origins is still broken because Warner Brothers said we aren't going to pay the studio to fix this broken ass game. And Arkham Knight is still on PC. It's still broken, and on console, it's still broken. So for people who keep on buying these games from Warner Brothers, why?
Because
if you're a Batman fan, that's cool, but why?
Because the media tells them to, and people can't think for themselves anymore.
Yep.
Because apparently the PC Master Race has to touch, they'll fix anything. That's what he's saying.
Let me put it this way: if someone sells you a burger that every time you eat it, you're stuck in the toilet for like an hour afterwards because you're sick, why do you keep on eating there? I mean, are you a glutton for punishment? Do you like being in a bad situation?
Man.
I don't know, what are you gonna say?
Another thing you know saying that, but Red made a good point, and that's what's going on right now. Like I said, it's a perfect storm. So what's going on in this generation right here, and that's what this podcast is about. Like we talk about stuff in the past, but also see how it evolves. Some is like Red gave an example. Some is evolving good that we get extra content. We go, you could say that the kind of said not all DLC are bad. There's some good DLCs and stuff like that. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I want to have extra content to play this game, like Mario Kart, like Smash Brothers, like Final Fates. They want to add stuff on. That's good, huh?
Mirage has DLC too.
So Yeah,
without the swimsuits.
they have,
Just
they have
finished the
that.
main story.
And
Yeah,
easy
apparently
mode.
it's everything new. DLC too.
hmm
Already too much
So
for Nintendo fans. They can't handle that. Nintendo fans can't handle it.
let's
What?
go on. Let's go on to the next. Let's go on to the next topic, which is, and a lot of us know this because of most of us know this because of time. Gaming was much more expensive in the past than it is now. For all the people who bitch
This
about
is
it.
full of
Really?
that's very debatable.
No,
I,
Yeah,
no, it's not.
Because
I
No,
play
it's not.
Is
because
that
No,
really
it's
true?
not.
wait.
If
While
you
cartridges were more expensive, because I remember seeing like Mario RPG for like $80. However, a game can be like more $60 now, but it's still nickel and dime you to death.
What
Okay,
did you
you're
see that
right.
game
So
is
when you
$80?
okay, so did you? So
Sorry.
again, nobody here has bought a $700 console except for if
no.
you buy unless you do a PC. You
Unless
got
you
to
have a
remember.
Neo
See,
Geo, which I will
yeah,
never get a
yeah.
Neo Geo.
But the reason I say that's right. The reason I say that's right because you see, this is one thing that I hate. As when I see people try to compare stuff in the past, this is not a gaming thing. It's like a real life thing. When I see media do this crap, you gotta take an inflation. You got
Yep.
to. You can't just say, "Oh no, it is," because the Atari when it came out was $199, but it's a
But with
$700 console.
inflation, that was $700 now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
So
gaming,
it's
so
true.
gaming was, huh?
No, keep going. Let
No,
on.
so yeah, and then and WatchMojo did a good job. This one I agree with WatchMojo because it broke it down. Inflation is what makes the games different. There's a
Yeah,
lot of stuff
that's true.
back in the day. Yeah, we are little kids, so we didn't know how much our parents paid. But I have an inflation calculator on my phone because again, when I listen to a lot of news stuff and I hear people saying stuff like this is the best selling this is the box office
Movie.
and money of movie and this and that. I'm like, okay, let me see Titanic. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Titanic still beat it if you go in inflation or stuff like that.
So it's all
So
about inflation.
yeah, that's well.
Well, I mean, it's inflation and strength of the dollar at the time. For example, a dollar in 1977 is worth more than a dollar now.
Yeah.
You can
I mean,
get more with a dollar. You could get more with a dollar in 1977 than you can with a dollar now. A
Yeah.
dollar
I
in
mean,
1977, you could get a sandwich and a soda, and maybe get some change left over. A dollar now, you're lucky if you can get a soda.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. My dad was one of the cheapest guys I know, and he bought me a console. That's
No, but
wow.
no, okay. You see, what I'm trying to say, right? The reason we say inflation because back in the time, again, I could just give you the price, $199. We buy our Wii U's for all of us here basically bought a Wii U's. Maybe half of y'all, some of y'all may have bought it a little late. I bought mine. I didn't bought mine early. I didn't bought mine the beginning, but still was $250 for me. Not 250. I'm sorry. 299. Yeah, but I didn't get 50 from mine. 299. But
Because I got the deluxe one. So
yeah, well, like I said, I have the black one. I got a black one, but Walmart had a sale, so I got it for.
yeah, I didn't get the sale, but mine came with mine came with an extra game. So that was like that was the caveat. So
No. I got what you're saying, Red. I got the deluxe. My Wii's the black Wii with the Nintendo Land and everything too, but I got the sale. You didn't get the sale. I understand. I was
yeah,
saying,
I didn't get the sale, but I got I got a bundle of
okay.
store bundle that came with an extra game on top of Nintendo
Oh,
and
okay.
the other stuff. So I mean, either way, we still got deals. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm just saying to give Brownie like I'm talking about, like you spent 300, 350. Let's go with Red's number, like 350. Okay, now 10 years from now, that's going to be a different number because of inflation. But again, at that time is what you spend because of what your money's worth. But back then, $199, yeah, $199. So you just like feeling. So right now, it looks like you spend more on a Wii's than we spend on the NES. But again, you're not spending. But if you take an inflation at that time, your dad at that now would not go and say, "Hey, I'm going to buy you a $700 console." Hell no.
yeah. Well, I mean, we also had something back then that is kind of dying a little bit. Layaway.
Oh yeah.
Your parents, like, I don't know about you. My parent. Well, my mom was single, and my mom, she would go around
It's like a better version of pre-order, right?
July, August, and she would go and.
Oh, it's not a better order pre-order because you ain't getting it early.
No,
No,
it's not
no,
pre-order.
that's what I'm saying. That you don't have the pressure of the time constraint.
She would go and get my Christmas stuff and my birthday stuff because my birthday's in February, and she would go and pick it out, put it on layaway, pay that shit off before Christmas, and sometimes in like November, October, and hide it, and I would never find it except occasionally I would, and look. I had great Christmases. So, I mean, the thing is this. Even though gaming was more expensive back in the day, for certain games, because certain games would be, because Nintendo would charge more for cartridges if it had a special chip. So, games that had, like, certain chips in it were more expensive. Like, Donkey Kong Country was, $70? $75?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was ridiculously expensive. But here's the cool thing. Well, here's the cool thing. When the N64 came out, they started clearing out their SNES games. So you could go and buy, if you had like $50, you'd get like 2-3 SNES games at Toys R Us and KB and places like that.
With blocks and
Because they were
everything?
moving that stock out the way to make room for the N64.
Yeah, everybody knows at the time Nintendo was one of the strong, their name was strong with KB Toys and all the stuff that they know that okay they got a new system, we got clear for some.
So that's how you got your games. Like when the GameCube came out and the PS2 were coming out, that's how I got most of my N64 games. I went to Toys R Us's and rental stores, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting this Gauntlet Legends. Yeah, I'm getting this Killer Instinct Gold. Yeah, I'll take this Mischief Makers. That's, I mean, look, listen. People think that collecting is so hard. It's not.
So it actually comes with its box, instruction booklet, everything on it.
Yeah, that's what we get.
Well, with the rental, it came with the instruction booklet, not the box. With Toys R Us, yeah, it was the complete game. It was the complete game. It was just you got it. Like that's how I got my Conker's Bad Fur Day and Shadow Man because they were selling 2 for $30. I mean, look, listen. Okay, look. If you're a gamer, and I'm just gonna tell this to anyone, this is just my little thing for gamers. Stop buying shit early. Wait. For example, if you guys had waited to get your Xbox Ones, you get one now for $250.
But I gotta get it now. Now,
don't you feel stupid that you bought that shit day one for $4.99, $500? You feel dumb, don't you? You feel stupid. And to quote Fred Sanford, you feel like a dummy, don't you, dummy?
But I'm still gonna go on Kenoshi's side because it's basically. Well, I have to get the game now so I can play it while the servers are still on.
Well, we weren't worried about servers, and a lot of games still aren't server bound if you're into single player. So.
Well, the thing is, like, why do we have to? Besides the online games, why do we have to get the game now? Why do we have to get it now?
Because the media brainwashed like so many gamers now is insane, and they want to be in the crowd.
Because they're Mr. Vain, like that song by that lady. You know what you want, you want it now, because you're Mr. Vain.
I'm going with Shepard. It's social. They're a social gamer. They have to be a part of the popular crowd.
Yeah. But there's some exceptions. There's some exceptions, like if a certain game is actually being stocked very low.
You know the popular crowd runs straight off a cliff. Do you want to off a cliff? I should.
I got you. Well, look. Look, one of the things I'm saying is, like I said, if I know the company, I'll say this to anybody. If I know the company that's making a game and the game designer making a game, yeah, I will pre-order if I need to, or I'll buy the game day one because I know what the quality of that person is. But majority of the time, like I say, I would say about 75% of the time, I wait. Because I waited for Tokyo Mirage. I didn't buy it day one, whatever. Now,
you know the price is going to go down.
Well, it was not. Mine is not because of the price. It's
just I'm cheap, so it's the price for me.
Yeah, these things. And the price thing, like Kirby Planet Robo, I know it was going to be a good game, So I got it. Of course, I was outside the country. When I came back, it was there for me. They just said day one. 'Cause I was gonna get it day one from Amazon anyway. And in some cases, you do have some deals, like as you said, where like Amazon or Best Buy have the thing that if you're part of that, whatever it is,
And
you
if
can
you're
get like
a
50%
PC
off.
gamer, you have deals all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people.
If you got a brand new game for like
No,
even
I'll
a
keep it
brand new
real.
game for like
Steam
30 bucks.
Third
Steam
party.
sales and good old gaming. If you're a PC gamer, like gaming has never been more accessible. And I will say that's a good thing about modern gaming versus and never has gaming has never been more accessible and more socially acceptable. Because I mean, I remember when if you played games, you were considered a weirdo, like you basement dwelling mouth breather, you know, you
And
nerd.
now because
Now, I mean, look, you've got people going out meeting chicks playing Pokemon Go, and the chicks playing Pokemon Go, they don't feel weird about it.
Hold
Hey,
on.
you catch that Pikachu? Yeah, I got that Pikachu. You want
hold
to catch it? You want to go out for dinner afterwards? Sure. Okay.
Hold on, Red. But then there's some hypocrisy going about when we got gamers actually socializing. Some people are still calling out for us to go back in our basement.
Ironically, I'm in my basement right now. But basically, I mean, look, listen. In some ways, gaming has never been more open and socially accepted, but in other ways, that has also opened it up to more scrutiny from people. When gaming was more secretive, you know, we didn't have to deal with as much scrutiny. We could play our games and no one gave a shit. Now everyone has a crusade, you know.
Yep.
About everything.
Because we didn't care about gender, we didn't care about what characters did, whatever. Now we're doing that now because we just gotta infiltrate and just want everything needs to tailor to me, and that's where the entitled gamer has been kicking in more and more.
Yeah, that does not happen. I'm sorry.
Now people want, and now you see why Star Fox Zero, you know, had the sales turned out because it's gotta have this, and it doesn't have it. Oh, I'm going to bitch and complain about it.
Well, like, I mean, with their mouth.
Hey guys, I'm gonna jump out. I'll talk to you guys in the next cast or
All right.
whenever.
No problem.
All right, take care, Kenosi.
Next topic is something that we hear back in the day. We didn't have no saving.
Yeah, no. Many times I play a real hard game. I had to leave the Super Nintendo or 64 on overnight, just getting a chance. I did that with Ghouls and Ghosts last year.
Yeah, I will say that did suck about old school gaming because there were games that needed saves and didn't have them, like Super Star Wars. Like the first Super Star Wars and Super Return of the Jedi had a password system, but Super Empire Strikes Back that needed a save.
And Metroid needed a save,
Metroid needed a save.
And we got you know what? Let's just get the elephant out of the room. Let's help people understand what saving came through was with Zelda, so you understand where that came from, and everybody adapted that too. So yeah, another leap that Nintendo helped streamline and mainline in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
You could save. It was awesome.
Yeah, I would say to some certain degree, some games do need saving, while others, you just have to be good from the you have to be good on the game that you can basically finish that game in one session.
Well, like Mario, Super Mario Brothers 3, 2 and 3.
Yeah, you just had to get good, or if you're like me, find the 2 warp whistles and just skip all the way to the cloud and skip all the way to the end. I was speed running before speed running was cool, bitches.
But you know what? Like I said, it's just like there were some games that needed it for sure. We know that. Like I said, Metroid didn't have it. So Metroid did it later on. But first of all, like you see right here, they had the code. Put in the code, had to put a passcode, and they were looking for them. Nintendo say, you know what? We see that they use this for certain things. Let's put a battery inside of the thing and save it and put it for Zelda, because Zelda's a long game, and lo and behold, everything else started doing that, which is This is why we say. I'll say this, like I said. This is why I said you might not like the company. That's cool. That's you don't like, but respect it. That's all it is. Because a lot of the modern stuff you wouldn't enjoy today is because of this company. That's all we're saying. When you hear people, you hear Nintendo fans talk about at least respect the company. Well, me, I say respect the company. I don't might not like certain things other companies do, but you know what? If they did something to help progress in the industry that I like, I say, you know what? Dang, that's pretty good.
Doom.
Oh, and here's a little aside. In Watch Mojo, they say that that when saving did exist, until your battery died. Let me
Oh
disabuse you of this
Oh
notion.
wow.
If you maintain your cartridge, you can basically the battery in your cartridge will last. Can last anywhere from 20 to 40 years.
I mean, I
If
just
you haven't beaten that damn game in 20 to 40 years, you don't really deserve to be a gamer. Just go sit down and do something. Think about the game.
I mean, I've just seen the argument against this by Ian and Pat from NES Punk, and they're still selling games. For example, the original Legend of Zelda, they're still selling that, and it still works. The battery savings, it still works.
Not only that, but here's a little something you might not know. In Japan, for the NES and the SNES, there are battery backups.
Yeah.
Well, they're battery backup systems for those systems that you can get for like $30 for both of them. I mean, for each of them, that you can basically hook into your system. You can hook the game into your system and save your game onto your PC. So if you really want to back up your game, your save for your game, you can do that. Really, it's not a big problem. It's not like, oh my god, my game is just a total broken piece of shit.
Rustin Bailey.
Yep, I'm about to say the same thing.
I was gonna say. I'll say this. A good thing about it is we had passwords, which was let's just say Justin Bailey for Samus and other places. So of course, we had the Konami code.
Yeah.
Left, right, up, down.
Right, up, down.
Different arcade sport games have like big head codes or little head codes.
Yep. Yep. So with the password came with codes. And also with that too, I don't know, but I'll say this. I'll give a negative about the passwords. Okay, it still happens to this day. Nintendo, PlayStation, everybody does this. Now, Nintendo does it to a certain degree to kind of clear it up, and I've seen it on Sony and Xbox. But again, I don't know if they cleared it up now. But I know I've seen it before when my cousin's trying to get certain things off of them. My friend too. Please. There's a lot of numbers, blah blah blah. Understanding. Can you please omit some of your letters so there don't be no confusions?
Oh, you mean zeros and
O's.
And O's.
And L's.
Yeah,
that can get very confusing.
L's and I's. I hate those. Like, is that a lowercase I or is it L? What?
Okay, you go to put in a code for your games, and it's like, wait a second, this game isn't this I can't tell if this is a 0 or 1. What the hell?
Yeah, that's I think personally the best password system still when it's just like numerical, like just 0 to 9. It's just simple.
Well, yeah, you still have millions of people. I'm just still saying that it's one of those things where you see they have places where they've gotten to the point now where they could do like kind of like a spell check kind of thing, like it cancels out the once you get it there, you cancel out certain letters so you don't use them. That's all I came for.
Yeah, that's what Nintendo has started doing on their eShop. Like 0 and like O just aren't there.
Exactly.
So,
that's what I'm saying. Omit them out.
Interesting.
Omit them out so we don't use that. So the ones don't look like an L or it look like an I. Just omit the things out that don't need that. That's what we're trying to say.
Really? You mean they still couldn't make fonts that would actually not make the capital O or 0 alike? Actually make them different?
Well,
it's just easier, and they're going for ease of use. Like,
Yeah,
here's the thing: the more barriers you have between someone spending their money, like the more chances you give them to not spend their money.
more
So they
money,
want to
yeah.
make it as easy and as smooth as humanly possible.
Well,
Which
I'm
is
just
why
saying,
sometimes when they have an eShop sale and you're like, I don't want to spend $50 on eShop games, and then you wind up spending $50 on eShop games.
well, like I said, I don't have with that, but I'm only giving it as a negative because back in those days in the game, like you're saying, that used to piss me off because I wrote this long ass code. And I'm like, crap, is it L? Is what a zero? Son of a bitch.
Yep.
And you gotta, and
Sadly,
then
I
you gotta
don't
go
have much experience with that.
and then,
Because
well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm talking for people like us. Then you gotta go back in and type that whole freaking code again.
because I
It was
remember,
it was bad. Yeah.
because I remember back in the day, I think it was at least Metroid or was it Zelda? Because at least back in the day, they actually differentiate the O with the zero. Like I think
No, they did, but again, they did sometimes. But some places like Metroid did a good job of doing that. But some
Can you
games
guys hear
didn't
me?
do that. Yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
We
you.
can hear
Yes.
you now.
Well, the best way to not run into that problem is to do like I did for some of my games, and that is just basically memorize it. Like, for example, I still know the level skip code to Cool Spot on the Sega Genesis.
You lucky devil.
if you can
Wow.
memorize it.
You ain't gonna remember no damn 15-letter code.
Here it is: ABACABABCBAC.
Okay, you're one of the few.
Did I just not say? Did I not just say?
You wrote it down.
What?
No, I mean, okay, codes that you like. Okay, I still remember the code by muscle memory for GTA San Andreas to give myself 250, a quarter of $1 million, and full life, full armor, and infinite ammo.
Yeah.
Like, I
Oh,
still remember those codes because
I
that
still
makes the game more fun.
I still remember. I still remember Sonic 2's code to get the music to get Supersonic, and you can just the debug to get Sonic. I know that, but I'm talking about like in the old days again, like the what's on the screen right now. It was 15-letter codes. I ain't gonna remember 15-letter codes.
Yeah, those were ridiculous.
Those
Yeah.
were ridiculous back then. And we didn't have no cell phone. I did remember some of my friends called, but that's when Polaroid cameras came out. I used to take Polaroid pictures. Let's take a picture, shake it out. Okay. All right, I got it. All right, I'm like, dude, you gonna do it for every time you play the game? Dude, you suck at the game when you ain't gonna be.
That's why I have to say modern saving is better.
No, it
Unfortunately,
is.
modern saving as we know it began with, for modern gaming, began with The Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
On the NES. Which, funny story, the reason they went with the save thing was originally it was supposed to be, in Japan, The Legend of Zelda in its first run was a Famicom Disk System game, but basically, like, when that wasn't going to do too well in America, they cut it down. They cut some data off of it, some of the sounds, some of the music off of the game, and they put it on a cartridge with a save battery thing instead of the writing directly to disk that they had for the Famicom disk system. And hey, Nintendo before the times using a disk system.
Again, and also it was going to be on Metroid really first. But but it was too late to do all the stuff to put it on a cartridge. So it got so Zelda was the next game to come up, the big game that Nintendo had, so they put it on the Nintendo with Zelda.
And it was, I mean, that was the black box game that basically set off a franchise. And then people, and contrary to what many people may believe, we weren't mad with Zelda 2. No, because the formula hadn't been
back then, almost every 2 was almost different from 1.
Yeah. Except for Mega Man. That was the only one that was...
True that.
That's a good reason, though.
I mean, I think my SNES games, most of them didn't have passwords, so my games, I have to clear them in one sitting, and if not, I'll just leave it on like Sprite did, like Super Bonk.
Super Adventure Island.
The
which
one
was
I
bad
mentioned earlier.
because at that time right there, that's when battery memory started to pick up because again, Super Mario, all that stuff, Metroid, all that had that stuff. So that's kind of sad that those games didn't have it in yet.
Yep. And if you had Chrono Trigger or like any of the RPGs on the SNES, you kind of needed saves.
Try to finish it. Try to finish that game without saving. Oh god.
You could do it. You just need a weekend and a lot of coffee.
Yeah. My mom.
And suddenly power goes out.
I'm gonna say I don't think my mom would let me back at that time. I'm talking about, of course. You drink a lot of coffee and stay up for no damn.
Yeah, for Chrono Trigger. Yeah, I mean, look, you got a lot of money. Yeah, it was a $90, $80 game at the time, but you got a lot of value out of that $90, $80. That was a game you play for like a year and a half. You get your money's worth out that damn game.
Yeah.
You play it again and again for years to come.
Well, yeah, because you had New Game Plus. You could play it again and be like, man, this time I'm kicking everybody's ass. Everybody gonna get their ass kicked this time.
Exactly. So I have to give before we go to number one. Like I said, I have to give an honorable mention also for retro gaming. That was pretty cool. I have to give a shout out to the Game Genie.
I've heard so much about it.
Cheats.
Yeah, because some games be so hard. If you go to get a Game Genie or Game Shark or whatever. Infinite Lives.
I always went Game Shark and Action Replay over Game Genie because Game Genie would sometimes corrupt your saves if you had like a game that had saves. Game Genie could sometimes corrupt your save, and it was like
I got you.
I don't really want to.
I'm talking about my NES days.
Yeah. NES days.
Because you know what? After spending a ton of money to rent the damn game from Blockbusters, and they rent out Game Genies. When Game Genies came out, that was like the hottest thing to get from Blockbuster at the time when I was down there. I'm like, you know what? And some of these games were like pissing me off. I'm like, F this. I'm gonna go down there as soon as school finished. I'm going all the way down there before anybody else, whatever, get the Game Genie and get that game that was pissing me off. And I said, okay, me and you, it's going to be me and you this weekend. We beating your ass.
Yep. And for the really hard games, you give yourself invincibility or infinite lives or something like that. Sometimes, I mean, that was a way you could train yourself to get better at the game. Because a lot of those, like especially shoot 'em ups, like it was about enemy placement and bullet, like knowing the bullet placement and stuff like that, and you could train yourself that way.
Mhm. That was good. So I got, like I said, I'll get honorable shout out to Game Genie because that was the joy. Of course, like Red say, then it was evolving to Action Replay and Game Shark.
Yep.
But it was Game Genie that everybody's like, you gotta get the Game Genie.
I never had those. Not Game Shark, Action Replay, nothing.
Yeah, I never got into Game Shark when it was out, when it was really big. It was too much. Like I could never they never had one when I'd go to the store to get one, and when it wasn't, it was too damn expensive. So
the first time I heard about it and wanted it, it was for Pokemon, and that's it.
Yeah, I would never use Game Genie on a Pokemon because it would corrupt your file, and then you just like. That's the thing about cheats like that is that if for things that have saves where they hold on to data, if you corrupt the data, it invalidates your save. So it's like, I guess I'll do this shit legit.
Yep.
Too legit to quit.
Well, and last but not least, number one. Now, I could see half and half on this because I could play different advocate and I could play because I think it kind of goes back to the difficulty what we talked about.
Yeah, I can see this too.
Number one is no online resource to warn us about bad games.
Yeah, Superman on the 64.
That I agree.
That's bullshit.
I say half and half on that one because I can understand that it was you couldn't tell which game was bad, whatever. You had friends too that would help you out or buy magazines, and if you didn't buy the magazines or whatever that is, being where we were, we didn't have a magazine. But because we had to take crap, dang it, you guys can still hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear. Quack.
Liger. What
Oh
happened?
snap! He went quiet.
I guess he may have
Okay.
pulled his thing out.
Okay, I think he means by half and half is some of them affect the actual good games, or not.
No, I think he means that half and half is that, like, while it's true that, like, but there were resources back then that we did have. We had magazines. If you're like me, I could never convince my parents to actually take out a subscription. So I would go to the grocery store and pull out a EGM or a Nintendo Power. Like, occasionally I'd buy a Nintendo Power, but an EGM or Tips and Tricks, and I would read from front to back. I'd get one as soon as I enter the grocery store and read the whole thing and then put it back by the time I got to the front. And that's how I'd basically figure out which games I wanted to get. So, yeah, I mean, plus we had friends. You know, you could your friends could be like, man, this game's a total piece of, you know what, don't get it. So, I mean, you know, like, people just...
Would you agree that back then the reviews were more honest and not paid out?
No, they were paid out back then, too.
Really?
Yeah, if you... Let's say you were listening to Nintendo Power, and... or you were reading Nintendo Power, and there was a Nintendo game in Nintendo Power. There was no way they were going to say, this game is a total piece of shit. Don't buy it. They'd be like, this game... Like, there were code words you would see, like, this game, it might not be for everybody, but if you like these types of games, then this game might be for you. Yeah. But that was a code that if you didn't like that type of game, you would not enjoy it. But you had bias back then because there were games that got hyped up even back then. I mean, have people forgotten Daikatana?
Or even the 5-star system.
Daikatana was hyped up to hell, and then when it came out, it was like, well, this is it, folks. Ironically, the best version of that game is on the Game Boy Color.
Daikatana?
Yeah, Daikatana. The best version of Daikatana was not made by John Romero and was handed out to a satellite team, and it was on the Game Boy Color, and it was basically a knockoff of Link's Awakening. Except with guns, machetes, and swords.
Yeah, I got you. Well, like I said, for me, before I got cut out, I was gonna say for me, it's like I enjoyed. I looked at the I don't know if I mentioned again too was the box art. You had to go by the box art and see. Mega Man was atrocious. Everybody knows those things. And like, you know, is this gonna be a good game or not? So you had to do that. But I think it made me like I said, I never really bought that much bad games when I was young, even though my mom was spending the money. So it made me a better gamer to this day because I don't buy bad games. I don't feel bad experiences. I wait for most of my games, like Red was saying at the beginning, and if I see that if it's the studio or the game designer, like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna buy this game.
Yeah. Or how about that game that had the box art of Fabio as a
Fabio. I get what you're saying, but that's for the NES. That was actually not a bad game. Like here's the thing.
What's the other one? Felix, the one with the banjo guy with the banjo on it.
Yeah. I mean that game. Okay, that game. The box art didn't tell you anything about that game, but it's actually a pretty good little horizontal shooter. It's not terrible. Plus, it's got really good music. I mean, after the second level though, it gets really friggin' hard. But it's a fun little title. I mean, look, listen. I mean, while we have more resources now to know if a game is good or not, we learned brand awareness back in the day. Kind of like what Liger said. Like, you would basically, like, okay, even now, I know that if I'm getting a Nintendo game from one of the Tokyo EAD houses, or from HAL, or from Intelligent Systems, or from Monolith Soft, like, these people have earned the right they've earned my confidence. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to hand me a pile of shit. Now, I can't say the same about other studios. You know, like Sega. Sega's like a 50-50 nowadays. It's like, you know, if it's a handheld game, probably going to be good. If it's a console game, I don't know.
Let's go. Let's do the elephant in the room, okay? Watch what they said because you don't know if you have a bad game or not. There are people still telling you it's a bad game and you still go and buy it.
Yeah,
Yep.
this
So
game is
online is not
terrible. I'm
helping.
gonna get it because my friends are playing it. You want to play that broken game online, even though the online is broken? Battlefield 4.
Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, that game is still broken. Like it's
still broken.
It's still
Yeah.
broken.
Oh
When
my
did that come out?
gosh!
2 years ago?
Yeah,
Yeah, it did, and it's still
broken.
It's still broken. Like
Oh,
like
God.
people still have drop matches and stuff like that. No one will say anything.
Again, my thing with that is like, so the online still ain't help nothing because again, you see people say whatever it is, and it works as a double-edged sword as Brian brought up, because of the perception of giving everybody a microphone. One person says, "Oh, this is a bad game," and keep on going. I'm like, again, you can't play this game, but my 7-year-old cousin could beat this. Could play on a team beat the game, could play the game better than you. That's sad.
Yep.
That is
Yep.
sad. But
I
again,
mean, and we
I was gonna say, and then again, like I brought up, you have Assassin's Creed Unity, but you went out there and pre-ordered Syndicate. Why would you pre-order something that was bad, atrociously bad last time? Why don't you wait? So,
that makes too much sense, man.
but it
I
goes
told you
again,
guys, you got to stop trying to make
but it
sense all
goes
the
again,
time.
but it goes with the whole online stuff, like I was saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Online ain't helping that much stuff. Sometimes even make it worse.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, you have people like PewDiePie who get paid, who got remuneration for hyping up certain games. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that I mean, if I'm just gonna keep it real, if someone has a huge subscriber base, please don't trust their reviews. Just look, the only way you should trust someone's reviews is if
it depends. It depends on you gotta really, if you're going to them, you gotta watch a lot of a lot of people now. What they do is once they get into so YouTube and they find, oh man, this person is good. Watch a lot of their old stuff to see how they were back then, to see if they evolved. Because I have no problem listening to Razor Fist. I have no problem listening to some Call Me Johnny.
Yeah, but
Those guys.
their sub bases aren't so big that everything they do is just catering to people. Like when I say when I say like huge, like okay, if someone's telling you that a game is just like the bee's knees, like they're way too enthusiastic about it, and it's like I remember when Arkham Knight came out and people were talking about how great it was. Like, and these people who were paid by Warner Brothers. Like, it was obvious they were being paid because I was like, this game classically has always been broken on PC, and even Angry Joe was like, yeah, the PC version's not that good, but I'm playing it on PS4. I'm like, yeah, this game is a broken piece of shit on PC.
Well, yeah, he know what Angry Joe did that for Spiker. He said, I bought the collector's edition. I'm like, you did that just
He's
to
an
be
idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he just
Oh
did that.
gosh.
He did that just because he's Angry Joe. That's what he did it for.
Angry Joe, he gets inordinately angry. He's like, this is the worst piece of shit I've ever played in my life. 5 out of, he's like 9 out of 10. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically.
So, but I mean, that's like I said, retro gaming has done some stuff in the past. It's to help us be some of the people like us understand it. Now, for those who are young, like I said, Ronnie said he didn't experience some of the stuff like that because of the region he's at, and money, of course. I mean, I think retro gaming has evolved us old time gamers into more stronger gamers to understand. But the problem is now the YouTubers now, as Red Fox brought up, some people see that they could be trying to make money off of YouTube, and they start BSing you from the get go just for that popularity thing, as we've seen many times.
Sorry.
Oh gosh.
And then also one thing about the internet now too, there's a negative too, and I could do this, thank God, but a lot of people can't do that now. The internet spoils the damn game for you now too. Everybody, like I'll give an example. Not spoiling the game, but one thing YouTube. I didn't notice this until I got into the gaming side of YouTube. I really didn't notice it because I didn't really care. Can we stop? No, I can't stop you. If you're making your money, make your hustle good for you. I freaking hate reaction videos now. I hate them. No. What I mean,
Yes.
I'll say this. The Fine Brothers thing. I know people they hate them because what they did later on, whatever. I watch that. That's still because I know what it is. But I try to put in Sonic Mania and stuff to just see whatever. And none of the stuff said nothing. It's just reaction. I'm like, what the frick? I don't. Can I just see gameplay? That's all I want to see. I don't want to see. I got damn 15 pages of gameplay reaction before I got to a damn something that showed me a little something, even a trailer. I was like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
And then now I see people do. Yeah, I didn't even know they do reaction to all kind of stupid shit. Ooh, reaction to popcorn popping. Are we that bored? Are we that bored?
That's what some PewDiePie would do.
Oh my God, we that bored now? We do a reaction to popcorn popping. Really? Man, y'all need lives. Y'all need to get out the house.
And play Pokemon Go.
No, you know what? If you're a jerk and you just one of those people who be bad at internet, I'll say this. Yeah, go play Pokemon Go and just don't pay attention to your surroundings. Maybe you could thin the herd a little better.
I want to say real quick that the cops around here in this island has received a lot of money just giving tickets because a lot of people are playing and driving.
Well, hey,
it's been a week since the servers have been working here, so.
Well, what is it?
No, I would say those people are idiots.
Yeah. So let me run down. This is the first time in a long time I had a bunch of questions, so I'm running down to these as quick as I can. Let me see. Questions or maybe concerns people put up. Give me 1 second because I got to bring up my next. I didn't got to check one more thing because sometimes people put questions there too. But I mean, that was a little good thing that we went through that for people out there who want to know about the retro gaming from people who are retro gamers like us. As me and Red Fox, Dr. Feelgood, many of us are, and see how it goes, for certain people. Surfing 20 Gaming, what's up? I mean, I sent you a link, but I mean, I know the podcast got full, so again, one of those things, man. First come, first serve. Sorry, it is what it is.
It's not full anymore.
No, but I'm wrapping it up right now. So it's kind of how it works out now. So question is, let's go with the first question would be, in a second, dang it. First question would be from Foodie Puncher. I
thought you said PewDiePie.
Huh?
I thought you said PewDiePie for a second. Oh my God.
Listen carefully. Anyway, some but not all of the old video game commercial quirkiness made them charming, cheesy, fun to view. That's true. That's what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and that's when I remember some of the. I mean, people need to understand. Sometimes when you do commercials, sometimes commercials is that bad that it still sticks in your head. That's some commercials like that. You're like, really? That's kind of effed up. I can't. Go ahead.
It means splat-a-tat-a-tat-tune, so.
Oh Lord.
That's memorable.
Yep, and we can't forget. Of course, he says anybody remember "I Am Error," which is from Zelda, of course.
Oh gosh, that was good.
You know, he came back in Hyrule Warrior Legends.
Mm-hmm.
I Am Error. Oh my God.
Well, the thing is that they had a kind of a cryptic message, find error, and there literally was a dude named Error. So I mean, I don't think that was really like a bad translation. There was a dude named Error.
Also I like back in old time gaming too because we did not notice. We just forgot the fourth wall being broken. We didn't notice it at the time.
Yeah.
There people's like on DX with Link's Awakening, where the guy was talking and he's like, "Well, all you need to do is jump here and do this and do that." Now I don't know how the hell to do none of that stuff. Cause he's talking about press the A button and this I don't know what the hell is the A button. He's like, wow.
But I'm just telling you what you got to do to use the shield. Press the A button.
Oh man, that was fourth wall breaking back then was crazy and it was funny too. Do this thing called a save. to say, I don't know what the hell is that, but you better do it before you don't mess up your game.
I thought it was hilarious how in Link's Awakening, if you stole stuff from out the store, like everyone would start calling you thief, and if you went back to the store, that dude would kill you.
Wow.
There's thief.
I got you. What up, Stephen O'Brien? Long time no see, man. The Ocarina of Time ad was great. It has epic music, 7. Whilst thou get the girl or play as one. Basically, that's back in the day when Nintendo was a little more edgier. But of course, when they get in and get out, get in or get out. I used to. That was a good tagline.
That was a good one.
And of course, like I said, whilst get the girl or play like one.
Oh gosh,
He said, "Can't you imagine nowadays with all the SJW nonsense would have been like?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hell, we learned that the hard way. Ren brought it up with the whole thing like, be like an anime. What was the game for 1909?
It's like an anime fan in a prom night. You cry like an anime fan in a prom night.
Yeah, but that was them basically alienating their fan base.
That was just stupid.
That wasn't really social. That was just because that would have been insulting to anybody. How do you? I mean, why would you make the assumption that people who like to play video games are socially awkward, even though there were people back in the day who liked to play video games who were socially awkward? That doesn't mean everybody who likes to play video games is socially awkward. I mean, like I said, you got people who are playing Pokemon Go. That's a video game, folks. It's a game. It's electronic medium. It's played with, a phone, and you're throwing balls at an imaginary creature. That's a video game. Look, people are going on dates with that shit. So they're definitely not socially awkward, but
and they're also thinning the herd with that shit, which is good. Thin the herd. Jacob Snake, remember Street Fighter 2 commercial with Blanca crashing a copy of Mortal Kombat? Oh yeah, I do remember that one.
Oh snap!
Where he did the thunder, the rolling thunder, and he broke the because basically that was the cover art when he was going against when he did the rolling thunder towards Chun-Li. So that one was pretty cool. I remember that was a back then also, man. I forgot video game consoles used to also do jabs against each other too. I mean, not console companies.
Publishers.
Yeah, they used to do jabs against each other. Which is pretty messed up back in the day, but still funny as hell.
Like I said, in the second gen, you had Atari and Intellivision, where they hired like Billy Plimpton to talk about how the games on Atari didn't look like the sports games didn't look like sports games, whereas the games on the Intellivision, like basketball, looks like basketball, football looks like football, baseball looks like baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original Sega versus Nintendo.
Yep. Most games I probably won't need an online guide to beat. However, if I would like 100% a game, I'll sure as heck will use an online game as my disposal, which is Fruity Punch. Yeah, that's the same thing I've done too. I don't use it to play the game, but if I love the game that much and I want to feel like I want 100% it, I want to do that because there's like I said, some games I want to do that for. I mean, if it's a Metroid, I use it just like as someone is brought up, like I use it just for the fan art and just looking at cool stuff. Metroid is one game I try my best not to really get into as an online thing. But other than that, like I said, Majora's Mask, I never 100% it on the 64. I know to beat the game. I know to get the
Fierce Deity Mask. Yeah. The Fierce Deity Mask breaks that game. It's like once you get the Fierce, it's like I don't need any of this other shit.
Yep.
It's like getting the Hadouken in Mega Man X. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Makes it interesting.
That kind of breaks the game, yeah.
And just like so, and also for the report when Triple M went off, he was like, "Dang, Triple M is on fire." Yeah, he went off on that one.
Yeah, it's just.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And why I don't remember.
He just went overbearing on that, and I'm like, for someone that's actually experienced, you can clearly see. Okay, guys, you guys are freaking reaching here right now.
I got you.
I mean, if they actually showed games that had break breaking bug breaking game, I wouldn't mind.
I got you. Like I said, I understand how that setup is. And let me see. And of course, last question from Stephen O'Brien. I remember the RC game on the Game Boy version. It was last level. It was the last level. It was tough as nail back in the day, but it was gratifying to accomplish it at the end. I think arcade style life system really complemented Tomba or Tomba or Tambai, Toby benefited from this. In other words, for real, there's some games that it made. Like I said, we talked about there's some games that made you feel accomplished, like Red said, when you figure it out, or if you beat look, when I beat Ghouls and Ghosts, that ain't the Ghouls and Ghosts. When that stupid thing said this is a dream and you gotta go back and beat, I'm like, you what? Seriously? I rented this game and you telling me I thought I beat it and I gotta do what now? Oh, and so trust me, when I beat it for real, I was like, all right, you son of a bitch, now you're done. I ain't never touching you ever again.
Oh snap! Yeah, I would like to outline my experience with TMNT 2 the arcade game. Like I said before,
I got the lager though. Did the Tails doll touch you?
Huh?
What the hell?
What you said, Anderson? Can't hear you.
Oh, did he touch you back then? Force you to do that?
So, what do you mean? Oh, you mean you talking about Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yeah. Some Kamayani.
Yeah, because it's funny. He didn't touch me. He was laughing because of some comment Johnny used the Tails doll. That shit was hilarious. Again, some comment Johnny's a YouTuber who does he does Let's Plays, but in a real of a review, so it's cool. And he gives honest opinions. But I like it because he goes all out. He put production to his shit, and it's funny as hell.
I like his Shantae review where he's dancing. He's doing the Shantae dance, and I'm like this big dude doing the Shantae dance.
Well, I like it. I like the Tails, the Ghouls and Ghosts, because he was like, with the Tails down, just because he was going crazy. You hear the ghost and he's like, "Will you stop that infernal damn noise? What the hell?" Oh, you want me to beat this? Oh, I'll beat this. So it's just funny how the jokes went like that. So, oh, you could tell your brother too, suck a dick. It's just that Tails down was just so mean. But yeah, it is. Tails of Godless War. There's many games out there. Red just listed a couple. We all got games that once we beat it, even though we would never touch it again, we were just like, son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. It's done. Yeah. It's done. Sprite was here. I know a couple games he played, like Contra and Hard and stuff like. I have demolished you. I have defeated you. You're over with. Be gone, demon. Be gone. So we have, let's see. Footy Punter says, speaking of retro gaming, who on the cast is gonna buy the NES Mini? It's coming out in November.
I would, if I could.
Triple Mike, okay. Anybody else? Because not on my list right now.
Most likely.
Okay. We have Ronnie Takashi. I got it. My NES is still working. And the games I want is not on the games that I want. It's a good list. Don't get me wrong. It's a good list. I don't know if it's going to sell out to a degree. I'll say that. But I still want to see what the emulation would be like, because that's just people still got bad emulations out there. So I don't know. I think people say because the Nintendo's going to do this, I say that's cool, but the Genesis one is not a really good one. The one the Genesis version of that, not really good.
Yeah, I have all the games that I like. All the games that I want that I want to play, because I'm a retro gamer, but I'm not a retro collector. I'm not one of those people who has games just for the sake of all that bullshit. basically for me, I play games because I want to, I want to have, like, these are games that I want to play, not games that I just,
Yeah, you're right about that.
Mhm.
So you're right about that, and that's the same thing I'm saying. Like I don't do the same thing too. I basically pick up games that I like. I remember I saw this guy who had a Sony PlayStation. He took up all the games for PlayStation. I was like, dude, you're not even playing none of those games. So what the hell? Why even do that? And he's like, he came back like, yeah, it's gonna be like, yeah, you know what? Why I'm wasting my money? Exactly. Buy what you like and enjoy it because that's what it is. Now there are people out there who do the whole thing like every gaming nerd, and I would think Pat the Pump would do the same, right? Like try to get all the what was 700 games for the NES.
Yeah, I think so. So over 700.
Yeah.
Yeah, including championships, world cartridges.
And then you got people out there who trying to get all the Wii games, which was 900 over 900. Nope, not doing that
Dang.
either. Not crazy. Now, like I said many times before, I have about like kind of like Mr. Red Fox. Like, if gaming stops right now, I got at least close to about 400 games that I could play through all my consoles. So I could go back and replay it. And you know what? That's the next thing that we forgot to honorable mention. Replay value.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That
getting
is
knocked out
Zion.
the door. That's getting knocked out of the door too, because most of these games are one and done. People just like and they're gone, done. They don't want to play the game and play that.
Move like cinemas.
Exactly. So I think there's the next game right there. Honorable mention, replay value. Because like I said, like I said, Anderson playing Star Fox Zero. The same thing for me too. I'm going back and play the game because what? It has replay value. That's why I like it.
After getting all after beating the game, finishing all the missions, and getting all the medals, I'm like, man, this thing is so good that I'm still playing this.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also those games that have as New Game Plus that really makes sense, not the cheap ass New Game Plus that's like and then they don't give you nothing. They just start you over from the same spot from that before you beat the boss. Nah, I'm talking after the boss is done. Okay, let's get some new bosses and try to get you through beyond that. So I don't worry about that. So that's the next that's the next one right there that people miss out right there. So with that that's my honorable mention I should say as well. So
That's a podcast right there.
yeah, I know, right? But with that said, I think we exhausted our time. So thank everybody out there for giving your time and your ear to listen to all my podcast with all the cast members here, chime in and tell their story. Like I said, I think this is gonna be a couple more retro gaming talk. I think we could do arcade, and we could do maybe a next topic. I think again, but this one came from an off-air chat with Mr. Red Fox. I know we had Saturday, and we were just talking about stuff and like, hey, this would be a good talk. And seeing all these questions again and seeing people watching, a lot of people's watching this. Thank y'all for watching us. So I know, Mr. Red Fox, you have yourself a BS Buster as usual. Pimp it out for good folks.
That's right. This Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be talking about how it seems that many other members of the gaming industry love to steal ideas from Nintendo, but never give credit for it. So we're going to talk about that.
Well, like we just talked about the whole battery thing.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm messing with it. Like I said, I ain't gonna start the drama right now, but that's what it is. Also, you have I don't know if Doc, are you mute or not mute?
Yeah, he's muted.
He's muted. All right.
He's long.
You have the OGL cast by Dr. Feelgood, where people go there. Some of these cast members go to his podcast and talk about gaming. I think we call it what? Gaming, anime, movies, and events.
Yeah.
So you can check it out. You go over there. Bonnie Kakashi, he had a video, but what was the music that we're playing that they copyright
He's back.
your music?
He's back.
Persona 4 music.
Persona 4
I think
music?
Yeah, but I think it's okay now if they haven't done it again.
Oh, okay. What you were saying, Dr. Feelgood?
Oh, come on, Doctor. You just unmuted yourself and now you're
Y'all
not
got
saying
some
anything?
bad. Y'all again. So y'all need Dragon's Mike. He's the only Red and Dragon's the only one that could, and even Triple sometimes keep their mic straight going. And like I said, Dragon, everybody hears you can hear everything in Dragon's mic. But other than, well, I know you got your difficulty where you at, Anderson. Half the time you go in and out, and of course Andre just got his Google don't like him. So that's just how it works. But as usual, with that said, thank y'all for giving your time and air again. Check out Mr. Red Fox podcast. Check out the OGL podcast. Gamers at Large will be happening on Sunday sometime. I might be. I join them sometimes. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm not, depending on my schedule as well too. And for all the people out there, even though I have this mannequin giving a finger, basically he need to tell it to himself. He's a salty bastard because Team Cali didn't win our Splatfest. The salt is real. I'm gonna send.
Even I am not salty, and I would do the exact thing that Kelly would tell us, even if we lose. Stay fresh.
All I know is I'm gonna take Doritos and tell him to go to Doc's house to get some sodium because he was just salty. He was just too salty. But other than that though, like I said, it's Splatfest is Dom C, and then I have on my Google Plus account. Even after Splatfest, which was cool, other than Doc messing it up, I saw a lot of people just saying, "Hey, good game, was great, good Team Marie." That's the part of the game I like. Just keep it civil, having fun. That's what we all supposed to be doing. I don't care what console you have fun. Don't do this politics thing because one of the things that happened right now is. Now we see my LBC got used to the people who lost money in the stock market, and of course it goes back to my to Gamers Don't Listen HD when I said people don't do research. Some of y'all think I was joking. I put it. The first part of that video was gaming. The second part of that video was people in general, because I told y'all people messed up with water. That's water. So if they do that for that simple thing, you surprised that people didn't know about stocks and shit?
Bottle of water.
Yeah. So again, just remember how people are stupid, all right? Individuals are smart. That's why I always say that. So with that said, we call it a night. Get out there, enjoy gaming, people. Enjoy what you have. There's no perfect game out there because what's perfect to you is not perfect to me. What's perfect to me is not perfect to you. Simply enjoy your games. And keep Retro alive. Peace out.
See you guys.